What's up, everybody? Hey, Danny, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, thank you. Thank you. Hey, here it is. Hold on, hold on. Sorry, everybody. I'm hearing double, and I think it's because I had YouTube on in another tab. Sorry. Yeah, no, thank you, Danny, because I want you to know that in case, and all the rest of you, I want you all to know it, in case for those of you who don't know, that when it comes to so everybody, Danny is a collector who watches my show, but he can't make it typically on Sunday nights. Tonight's an exception, which is why we're doing the show together. So thank you for that, Danny. But typically he'll catch it on Rewind, and then he's nice enough to leave me a comment and let me know what he thought of the show, which I really, really appreciate because, to be honest, I would say like, gosh, upwards of 99% of Rewind viewers, not only do they never hit the like button, or not, I should say, not only do they not leave comments, because that would take even longer time, right? But they don't even hit the like button. Just one little click, all they got to do. But, most people who watch videos on YouTube, when it's not live, it's basically, yeah, watch and then leave. Watch and then leave,
Sure.
And you, Danny, are lately the only one who will leave me comments. Of course, some of my regular live viewers, when they can't make it, will catch it on Rewind and then leave me a comment. But as far as the guys who can only make it by watching it on Rewind, you're like the only guy who regularly leaves me a comment and lets me know your thoughts. And I really appreciate that. It means a lot because, like I said, there's hundreds who watch, but other than you, they all take off afterwards and they don't say anything. I don't know if they liked it or not or whatever,
Well, I do it because I really enjoy the show, and you put a lot of effort into it. So I feel that that's the very least I could do is comment and
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, because you do great work.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Why don't we, before I say hello, everybody, because I don't want to forget, let me go and do a couple of promos. First of all, let me say hello, quick shout out just to a few people. Someone who you, Danny, know. So to the newest subscribers, Joe and Alexander, the salary otaku, Ulderico Fioretti, the artist who we will see some of his work tonight.
Yeah.
And several of you who are anonymous because of your privacy settings, not letting me see who your names are. So shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you. Next on the docket is doing my usual promos for just a few friends with, like myself, who have small channels. And the first one will be Lee Parmeter. Has another new video after the one who put out showing his statue, his Batman black and white statue collection. Then put out another one going back to the statue collection was like about half an hour. This one goes back to his usual standard, I believe 6-ish minutes or so, 5-6 minutes. So there's a direct link to that one. And let me see who's next on the docket. Carl, of course. Carl from Carl's collection. So he put another video out himself as well. Let me pop that one into the chat as well. Give me a second here, everyone. Here we go. This is to Carl's latest video. So please check that out if you have a moment. Yo, I'll say hello to Mike Davis. What's up? Been a while. Wow. And just because I see you there, I'll say hi to everybody else momentarily. I believe, let me check. I want to make sure I don't forget anybody. I think there may be somebody else who put out a video. Now, Karen didn't. You know what? And I'll come to think of it, Lee and Carl, you guys were the only ones who have a new video this week. Nikki B, I just want you to know, if you catch this on Rewind, I know you're probably not here right now, but Jay didn't send me the link to the direct link to your video. So, and I tried finding it, I tried looking for it, but I couldn't find it again. So I do apologize. I tried hard. But everybody, please check out, if you're not familiar with Nick Barucci's show, The Original Art Experience, on Fridays. Here we go. That's the gentleman himself right there. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And let me pop up Nikki B's URL just so you guys can see. Here we go. And so it's youtube.com/the EXP. That stands for the original art. The experience. So there you go. Please check that out this coming Friday and every Friday. And I would appreciate that. So, okay, I believe that's it for the promos. So let me come back to you guys. And why don't we go jump into the chat and say hello to our regular friends, as well as, I'm sure, Danny, some of your family and friends, probably, I'm going to say.
Yeah. I encourage a lot of people to hang out and, say hi and
awesome.
Check the show out.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I always love to have family and friends of the collectors who come on as guests in the studio to hang out with me. That's always fun to see, That's
sure.
People supporting people. Why not, right?
Yeah.
So Mr. Red Jack, thank you as always for your warm welcomes. And he says, hello, Danny, and welcome.
Hello. What's up, man?
And whoa, what's up, Mickey? You're here. And you're commenting right away. Wow. It's funny because I left Mickey a comment, I believe it was yesterday night, and it was something to the effect of, if you like this kind of art, you should check out my show. Don't miss my show this Sunday. And he said, he answered back, he commented back, he said, I just did a deal with your guest.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fantastic. That's even better, right? So I love that. So fantastic. So good to see you, Mickey. Thank you for dropping in as always. The Rickster, what's up? Good evening to you, my friend. CJ, good to see you. Number one Marvel fan, of course. My lovely wife. Thank you for the support always, honey.
Nice.
And what's up, Mark Vega? Good evening to you. And there we go. Marcus Way. Thoughts on JJ McCarthy draft position? I think it's fantastic. To be honest, I think it's fantastic. I think it was, I think that's high. So that's good. I think all the hype that we're trying to get him into the top 5, I think that was maybe pushing it a bit. But that's based only on the fact that the Michigan system does not allow quarterbacks to throw the ball that much. So that's the big X factor with JJ McCarthy. But I've got good hopes for him. So there you go. But thanks for asking. There you go. This must be your son.
That's actually my daughter. Yeah.
Oh, Ezra. I apologize.
No. We get that all the time.
Okay, I apologize. Yeah, because I've known actual Ezras that were guys, but I know that it is also used sometimes as a female name. So
that was a better.
Apologize, Ezra. Thank you. Sorry. Well, that's awesome.
Better than Ezra. So I was like,
better than Ezra. Yeah.
So like,
that's awesome. But thank you, Ezra, for dropping in and supporting Dad. That's really cool. Alex Garcia, what is up? What is up? Lazy Sunday for sure. Look at that. CJ saying, hey, Danny, welcome.
Yeah. How you doing?
And hello all. Hello to you, Ian. Pleasure. Of course, CJ. I know you meant it to, you didn't mean to forget me. Thank you. Hello. Jewish Dragons, what's up? Good to see you. As always, John Brown, always here. Always here to say greetings, and then we never hear from him again as he sits back silently and watches in silence. I love that.
That's cool.
But in all seriousness, thank you, John, for always being here. I appreciate it. Look at that. The first compliment for the background there, Danny. So there's a good friend of ours, NSN Art. His name is Mike. Mike Dellery. He was one of my guests in the past as well. I did a show and tell with him, and he's been on actually 2 or 3 times, right, Mike? 2 or 3, at least 2, anyways.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I.
Wow. Hey, Ruben and Danny, been a minute, so I wanted to jump on and say what's up. What's up, Aranga?
How you doing?
Good to see you, man. And look, Joe and Alexander. So first of all, I don't know if you guys heard me shout you out as thanking you for subscribing. But if you're saying Danny's the best, you must be friends of Danny's, or are they just collectors that you know?
Joe, is that Joe Martino?
Oh,
yeah.
So you're not even sure.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, let us know, Joe and Alexander. let us know. That's awesome. But in case you didn't catch it,
oh, it is Joe. Yeah,
it
what's
is
up,
Joe.
man?
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
It's
Excellent.
awesome.
There you go. Thanks for subscribing, by the way, again, Joe, and for dropping in to support your boy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now she's going, yeah, Dad.
Nice.
What's up, Gil? Hey, welcome back. Why are you saying welcome back? Is there someone staring in from outside your window? No. What do you mean? Those are trees back there. I mean, I don't know what you're getting at, and I don't know what you mean. Welcome back. I never left. I was here every week for the last, I don't know, 18, 17 months or something. But good to see you. Welcome back to you, I should say. And hey, Carl's Collection himself. What's up, Carl? Evening to you. And apologies, Danny and Ruben, but I can only catch on rewind, and I will try to leave a comment. See, he heard me.
Nice.
A lovely man, Comic Art Boston. We've known each other for 2 decades plus. A great supporter. Everybody loves him. But over the last year or so, it's been difficult for him to catch the show. But I appreciate every second when you are able to give us a cab. We call him Cab because Comic Art Boston is too long to say. So.
Oh, hey, that's cool. Yeah, Cab. I like that.
CAB, right? Cab. It's Cab. Everybody knows him as Cab now. So there we go. Hello, Danny. Nice wall, says Gil.
Oh, thank you so much.
And so what else? Okay, Carl, still working on getting the kids to bed. We'll check it after you're all settled. No worries, man. Got to take care of the fam first, for sure. Thank you. And thank you for hitting the like. I appreciate it, Cap. Thank you. And look at that, Caesar. What's up, Caesar? Good evening, Danny, and everyone. And of course, Mike Davis. Again, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for dropping in. It's been a long time, and man, I hope to see you at Jeff's place maybe in September. It's been years, my friend, years. But thank you for dropping in. Carl and Lee pumping them out. They do videos quite often.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
A pretty random one, yeah, whatever. But you switch things up, Carl. That's the nice thing. You do what you got to do. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello and goodbye to each other. What's the show? Never heard of ESP. I see. I'm like several minutes behind. Wow, your daughter is going crazy. Look at that. She's loving being here. Apparently,
she's trying to mess with me. Yeah, she thinks she's funny.
Well, look at that. Now my wife is saying and welcoming your daughter, so that's awesome.
Thank you so much. That's
Thanks, honey. And look at that. See, look at that. What a crowd we have. CJ,
that's great.
Right? Evening from Wales again. Wow, Pat Bear. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all the time, all the way from Wales, 5 hours away. It's already 1 a.m. What are you doing awake?
Wales is a great country. I've been there.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Have you? Were you there to do the seminars?
Yeah, teaching my seminars there.
Oh, yep. We're going to talk about that. I hope if you're willing to talk a little bit about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Awesome. And this week on the college charts at number 1, oh God, better than Ezra. Oh, that was a joke by Norm Macdonald, was it? On SNL, I guess. A Weekend Update, maybe 30 years ago. I don't remember that one, but thank you, Carl. I like that. And yep, of course, it's Joe saying, "Yep, it was me."
That's awesome.
And let's see here. But looking forward to this as I ink. Okay, nice, man. And see, I was thinking, whoever you were, I was thinking it's probably a father and son. He is confirming.
He's got 4 kids. Yeah. So.
Excellent. Thank you for clearing that up. And look at that, Hart. What's up, my buddy Hart? From the last couple of weeks, we were doing sales shows for him, so that's cool. Good to see you, Hart. Thank you for dropping in.
Yeah, man.
And I get the feeling someone's watching you. Okay, you're doing little jokes. Ruben, what is the 6 to 8 month review of the Superman office chair? Yeah, so for anybody not knowing what he's talking about, my office chair is a Superman themed.
Oh, nice.
Let me give you the side view, front view. Yeah, so The review is that, yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I'll say the same thing that I said when I first bought it. The cushion is hard, but I guess that is what keeps the cushion lasting for years. Like people say, you know, the cushion lasts for years. I guess that's what does it, is the fact that it's hard, but it's not hard like in a painful way. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, that's the only thing I'd say be careful of. If you're scared of a hard cushion, I'd say you're kind of a 50-50, you're taking a 50-50 chance by buying it. Other than that, yeah, man, it moves around good. I mean, it does what it needed to do. It's spacious, whatever. It's solid, really, really solidly built. So that's why they're so expensive. But yeah, thumbs up for me anyways. Yeah. Thanks for asking, by the way. So of course, a heart saying hello to you and to me. I also just wanted to thank Danny for the views and comments. Look at that. You see?
Oh, yeah. I really enjoy his channel as well. I mean,
cool.
Great stuff. Yeah.
That's nice. You see what I mean, Carl? That's what I'm saying. It's all us little channel guys. We help each other, and you send people to each other, and that's the way it goes. And yeah, speaking of small channels and not so small anymore. Hey, Karen, what's up?
Hi, how you doing?
So, she's now what, like 6? Are you at, Karen? Are you at 1,600 subscribers or something, or whatever you're up to now? I don't know, but her videos are like rocking. I mean, they're awesome, and they're getting like 3,000-4,000 plus views a piece. I mean, well deserved because her content is really, really well done.
Yeah. Sure.
And Karen is also going to be, she's hard at work on a video now, as I understand, and I'm hoping it gets out by Tuesday, which she said she's trying to do. And if not Tuesday, hopefully still this week, Karen. Get to work and stay working on it, right? There we go. Not just for me, but because everybody loves your videos. There we go. Thanks for dropping in. And TJ, what's up, TJ? Has it suffered from brown kryptonite? The chair is, it's indestructible. So there is no brown kryptonite. We're good here, TJ. Thank you for asking.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Ruben likes a firm touch on his buns. Well, I won't say anything to that. Good evening, Miss Karen. What's up? Mark. See, my wife loves all the jokes. Okay. Hellos to everybody. Ruben, the buns of steel. Most people like a cushion. Nice. Hi, Karen, and hi, CJ. Okay, excellent. Well, again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate you. And I don't want to forget those of you watching this on Rewind, as my awesome guest, Danny, usually does.
Yeah.
I appreciate you all. So thank you very much. And I know if it's not too much to ask, I know it usually is for you Rewind viewers, but if it isn't, can you just click somewhere below where I'm pointing here? There's a thumbs up icon. Just click that, please. It's not asking much. All right. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So let's get into this. Danny, first of all, again, wanted to say one more time, well, probably for the second to last time, because at the end of the show, I'll thank you again.
Sure.
But thank you. Yeah, thank you. I thank you tremendously, like I said, especially because of the fact that not only are you a regular viewer now, and take the time to click the thumbs up for me and leave me comments and letting me know how what you thought of the show, which is it means a lot, because like I said, most people on Rewind don't do it,
Right.
And you never know what people are thinking, so it's nice to have somebody like that finally who takes the time to do that. So it means a lot, really, truly.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate that. And look at that, one of my new subscribers who I shouted out earlier, the Salary Otaku. Greetings. What's up? Is this by any chance one of your friends? Do you know?
Now, I'm not familiar with that name.
Okay. But good to see you. I saw him on he was we chatted for the first time on Nikki B's show. So on Friday, saw him for the first time. So thank you again for subscribing to the channel, the Salary Otaku. Long name, my friend. I think you might want to make it easier on us. We can't even put the acronym because it's TSO. So it wouldn't really make a good word to sort of like we do with Comic Art Boston and Cab, right?
Sure.
TSO, I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. But good evening to you, Kenneth. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? Good to see you. And thank you for trying to rally the likes in place of Nick and leave a dirty joke. Ruben needs new material. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, Danny, that's the other thing is that I also appreciate you coming on because not only do you take the time to watch and then leave me comments and let me know what you think about it, but part of the purpose of the channel, of how I use the channel, as I've mentioned to many people over time, is that for me, it's a lot of it is about getting, first of all, it's a place to hang out, right? A place for all of us, whoever feels comfortable to come in and just chat and know that it's a place where you can fool around and joke around with people. And, nobody takes ourselves seriously here, trying to make it basically as a friendly environment as possible, because a lot of shy collectors, what I've learned over the years, a lot of shy collectors in this hobby, and they'll watch shows like this, but they feel intimidated because they think like, well, I'm watching and I see everybody in the chat live. They seem to know each other, but I don't know anybody,
Right.
And so it's like, oh, I don't know. I guess I'll just stay quiet and I won't say anything because, they don't know me and I feel like it's not my place. And to those of you listening to this who are falling into that category, please, please, please don't ever feel like you cannot say something. If you ever tune in live, please know that I want you to pop a comment in the chat so I can see new people coming in for the first time. We know that you're watching, and if you have watched before, you should know by now, a big part of what we do here with the channel is it's all interactive. So no matter what type of show we're doing on any given Sunday, I interact with everybody, the guest interacts, whatever. Like we all talk amongst each other, because it's about all sort of making friends with each other, becoming friendly with each other, and so that's the other thing. And I also have sort of made it a focus to try to have other collectors on with me who collect art that perhaps, again, are not $70,000 Marvel Silver Age and Bronze cover.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff that people, usually get excited about just because, wow, look, oh my God, what a collection. It's so valuable, Yeah. So I get that a lot of people, when they see non-mainstream artwork, they're not interested. I get it. Fine, whatever. But I don't care. They can feel free to skip that show if they want to, right? Sure. But my hope is that they find some value in the connections that we make just shooting the breeze while we talk and stuff, and stay open and open-minded to still watch and just hear what the collector has to say and why they like collecting that type of art.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%.
So that's what I'm saying. And so that's why I thank you for also for being on and agreeing to do this. And I'm just hoping that by exposing people to a different type of art that they may not normally look at. Like I said, doesn't mean I'm not looking to convince anybody that, hey, you should like this. No matter what we're showing, right?
Sure.
I just want you to hopefully get exposed to stuff you don't typically look at and maybe, broaden your horizons a bit. And that's it. And like I said, even if you don't care about the art, hopefully what you still hang out for is you care about us and just talking together with us and listening and hearing what everybody has to say. And we have always fun discussions. And if nothing else, you get something out of that,
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's a draw for me. Of course, I enjoy watching everyone's art, but just listening to the stories and, everybody's, I'm 53 and it seems to be like an average age around, mid 50s.
Same age, baby. Same age.
There you go. Right.
53. Yeah. There we go.
So I really enjoy hearing people's backgrounds, like how they got in the hobby, and it's just neat. There's this, it's just, I find it very interesting,
Sorry, you got to put on my fan, everybody. It's hot in here.
Yeah.
No, exactly, and that's what I love. That's why I love having people on who feel the same way.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much better. To answer your question, Joe, yes, I am actually Canadian. I'm actually in Montreal right now. So northeast it is, but probably a little further northeast than you were even thinking. So, so there you go. The Salary Otaku says, I'm semi-new to the community. Okay. Thank you for dropping in.
Cool.
Looking forward to Danny's show and tell. I'll work on the naming. I mean, I was kidding. I'm just saying it is tough to interact with people with these crazy long names. But of course, I'm kidding. I don't expect you to change it for me, Yeah. But it's all good, man. It's all good. And thank you for dropping in, for subscribing and dropping in. And this is what we like. Is just if you enjoy the show, just drop in and say hello. Why not? So that's good. I'm glad you're looking forward to seeing Danny speak about his collection and show it. So,
man, thank you.
And yeah, like Mr. Red Jack, who's always here at the top of the show, leaving messages to let people know. Anybody new to the chat, don't be shy. Ask questions, comment on the artwork. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. And TJ says, and hang out until the sun comes up or goes down or just disappears. He's saying because my shows tend to go really long sometimes.
Sure.
I mean, they're always quite long, as you know, Danny, but
right.
Some of them have gone even longer. So that's what he's probably getting at. You can come here and make random comments that confuse Ruben. Is that right? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Marcus is the professional at that. And some of you are also following suit. So yes, I'm here for the chats, ladies and gents. Oh, there you go. He doesn't even care. See, Hart doesn't care as much about the art. He's like me. He's also kind of like, that's why he was selling art with me last weekend, right? Yeah. With two shows. He's kind of, he's looking to sort of get out of the hobby and slow down his collecting. Yeah. And he's more interested, like me, in just sort of the personable stuff, right? Talking with other collectors and just, shooting the breeze with friends, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so Joe says, yes, was thinking more New York, New Jersey. I knew you were going to say that, by the way. So there you go. Close enough, man. I can drive there in about 6 to 7 hours, depending on traffic. So, right. John says 70 now, 57 when I started. Right.
Wow.
How awesome. How awesome is that? And this is what, see, it's not like I'm going wow only because it's not like I'm unaware that there are people in their 60s and 70s and older in the hobby. I know that.
Yeah.
But I go wow because here in this small community, it's not many who actually speak up and join in who are in that age category,
Sure.
So it's nice. It's nice when they say something. So John, it's a rare second comment for you on one episode, so I appreciate that. So thank you so much. That's awesome. Ruben, the screen name shamer. CJ's the biggest ball buster. You'll quickly find out. He's the biggest ball buster. I mean, for me at least, Yeah. God, he loves busting my balls. Knights of Old, what's up, man? Ruben, what arcade machines would you have if you had an arcade room? Why would you ask me such a bizarre? I've never even really been a super video game guy. So if I had to answer you, I'd go with the classics back when I was into it more. The Donkey Kong, Miss Pac-Man, Asteroids, Centipede, and maybe the original Mario Brothers. Yeah, I'll go with
that. Nice.
Maki Poo Poo, what's up? Good to see you, Michael. Hello, good evening. And finally, gotta go, guys. Wow, something came up. I hope it's not bad. I look forward to watching on Rewind. I dig Danny's unique indie collection. Yeah, and he's been, I've seen he's been leaving you comments too.
Yeah, Rick's a cool guy, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, man.
I enjoy his collection as well. He's got some great stuff.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. I appreciate it, man. I hope whatever it is, I hope it's good news. Anyways, not bad. You're kind of worrying me, but thank you. Well, shit. If John can do it, here's comment number 2 from me.
Oh, nice.
By the way, since I just read his comment and said I don't really call it a curse word, but I did say SHIT. Just so you know, this channel, in case you haven't already noticed, Danny, we occasionally have some cursing and happening and stuff. So I don't know if your family would appreciate hearing the cursing. So
no, they're not going to be offended. Trust me. I'm trying. That's my wife's like, you're going to have to tone it down now. You're going to be on live.
Oh yeah.
Because it sounds like
Okay. Because I if I feel like a guest, is not, is kind of not like that. Well, we try to keep it, tone it down as much as possible. Nobody's out there, F this
no,
constantly, anyways, right? But
no.
but I try if I know that somebody would get maybe offended.
Sure.
What's up, Carlito? Good to see you, man. Look at everybody now. Mark, obligatory comment number 2. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Me give you grief, only good fun. Damn it. Yeah. All right. Jesus Cabrera, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. I would hashed to be rated. I would be hate to be rated. Is that what you meant? I think that's what you meant. Sup again.
There you go.
And hi, Vivian. What? Joe, you're not 69? Because I seen a video, and he's like our age, right?
Yeah, he's 53. Yeah, I believe he's
Yeah.
that age.
So I don't know. Oh, now he's saying that was my son. Is your son? Is your son claiming that you're 69? Okay. Look at that. What Mr. Red?
Nice.
This is a family-oriented show until 8:30. Then the cursing starts. Okay. Carl, what's up? All the way from Hawaii. Dropping in for a bit, making dinner for my girlfriend. All right. No worries, man. You're such a romantic, Carl. So nice. Okay, Ranga, I'll see your comment and raise you a comment. You see, look at these guys. They're going nuts. I love that. That's awesome. The most that John has ever spoken on this show. That's awesome. Well, commented, I should say.
Well, sure.
To be precise.
Nice.
Look at that, Danny. I was right. Joe says I'm 53.
That was a son. Nice.
Wait a second. When you said, hold on, Joe, when you said father and son, do you mean you and Alexander is your father? That doesn't make sense because 69 and 53, well, I guess it could be. Well, you would have been really young.
Yeah.
It's possible, but that's a what, 16, 69, 9, yeah, you would have been 16. I guess it's possible.
The son. Yeah, I see.
But cool, man, cool. And Mike, the comments just doubled on this video. Danny is a good guest. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Having a good laugh. I love it. Okay, now the inside. You're gonna know that there's a lot of inside jokes. Sick is an inside joke.
Yeah. I've seen that guy. He's funny.
Okay, you see. Okay, so you know Mr. Sick that we call him all the time. Yeah, the sick guy.
I like his energy though. Very his wife, whoever it is.
Exactly. Nah, don't think too hard on it. Okay, I won't, man, because you're confusing me more than the rest of these people always confuse me. So I won't say anything else. I'm here to feel young since I'm turning 50 in a matter of days. Whoa, happy birthday in advance, Knights of Old.
I like that name, by the way, Knights of Old. That's pretty cool.
It's a cool name, right? Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's one of the cooler ones, yeah. And damn it, John, look at that. You guys are going nuts again. Hi, Karen. No, I say no. He's my son. So now you're saying, so Alexander's the son, and 69 was just a lie because he's fooling around. That's what I'm basically getting at.
He's trying to be, the 69. He's trying to be clever. That's funny though.
Okay.
I can appreciate the humor. That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not go there. It's a family-oriented show, by the way.
Yes,
no, not really, but these kids with this number. Yeah, exactly. Gil, hello, Ruben. Again, like Mr. Brown, I've also been in the hobby for a while, not quite 70 yet. But when coming on your show, I check my email to see if I have any past history with your guests. Cool. That's neat. That's a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
I missed one a few shows back that I picked up art from. That's cool too. Awesome, man. Look, everybody revealing their ages now. Dwayne is 48. You're still a little bit of a young pup. Look at that. Knights of Young. That's you, Marcus, Mr. Knights of Young. He's being cute. I'm sure he is. Hey, hello, Ruben and Danny from Lee Parmenter. What's
Great
up?
show too, man. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't. You spoke while I was still speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I just say I appreciate Lee's show as well. His channel, his shows are pretty cool. I dig them.
Cool. There you go, Lee. You see, you got another viewer here. Danny's tuning in.
Yeah.
Joe's son's 11. Oh my God.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Turn 60. Hey, what's up with the 60? Congratulations. You don't look it though. Awesome, man. I'm Knights of Dong. Oh my God. Okay. There you go. Thank you, Danny. Okay, so let's resume what we were saying before talking. So as I was saying earlier, that those are the reasons why I really appreciate you coming on. When you agreed to do it, as you saw on the thumbnail, let's show everybody again.
Yeah, sure.
Because I wanted when we got to chatting. Hey, what's up? What's up, JC? Good to see you. When we got to chatting, I did want to kind of address the quote that that I lifted myself, just so everybody knows the quote here. Let me show everybody, just for those of you who didn't kind of pay attention to the actual thumbnail for tonight's show. Check this out. Okay, you'll notice under the comic art show and tell number 41, it says original indie comic art, in quotations, the ugly red-headed stepchild of the calf community.
Yeah.
So I loved it when I saw that.
Yeah.
But it really, really intrigued me. And also, what the rest of you watching now don't know, because this happened privately between Danny and I, is that when we were speaking privately, Danny also mentioned, when I asked him, if he'd want to come on, I said, you should do it. You should come on and do a show with me. And he was like, what a lot of people do, right? They're shy because, again, they don't have the $70,000 Marvel covers. And so he's kind of like, well, yeah, but like, I don't know that anybody would care about the stuff I collect, And he said, and I can't quote, but I'm paraphrasing. He said, what I collect now these days is I collect the type of stuff that I used to thumb my nose down at 30 years ago. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? What? Okay. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, look, all I said was I didn't keep following up on that. I figured, let me just get him to say yes to doing the show, and then I'll get him to talk about that in front of everybody, so we can all find out why he thinks this is, or his gallery is the redheaded stepchild of the calf community. So do you want to start off with that and tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's just kind of a colorful way of saying less than popular. If you go, I've made it a habit just kind of going through people's galleries on CAF and just checking out art, and new art. And generally, people will be really, like you said, proud of their Marvel and DC and have it listed. And then you see the other or indie, Yeah. And so then I click on it and there's a lot of cool stuff, there's a lot of cool stuff in this other, category. And so I always just got the impression that people were either, maybe not, not, I wouldn't say not proud of it, but weren't showing it off, or maybe they were embarrassed to show it off, or maybe, they really didn't understand it as much. They just bought it because they thought it was cool. So, and then also like, different award shows, different arts of the year, best sketch, whatever. 99% of the time it's usually something Marvel or DC related. So
right,
I just kind of put that on, just
and expensive.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, it's got to be expensive.
Yeah,
definitely. So right. I just put that on there just as a way to draw attention. People like make them think, oh, what's he talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the spark. Hopefully, spark a little conversation, maybe, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Xavier says, looking good.
Oh, that's my son right there. Yeah, there you go.
There's your son. Look at that. What's up, Xavier? By the way, am I saying it correctly? Because
Yeah, Xavier. Yep, that's right.
Okay. Your sister was here earlier, and I thought it was you because of her name. Of course, I had to apologize, but thanks for dropping in to support Dad. That's very cool of you.
He's a fellow art collector. I got him into the hobby. Xavier.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's got his own cap gallery, and I actually have some of his stuff hung up here. I got a few of his pieces are on my walls.
Very cool. So is he collecting the same kind of stuff you are?
No, he has his own thing. He likes he likes a horror stuff, and then he's into like Hulk and things like that. Spawn, like that. It's
okay. So just to let everybody know, in case anybody's interested in checking out Danny's son's gallery, will it be found under Xavier Hoskins?
I think it's I forget what he's got it under now. It's like
let us know, Xavier.
Yeah, I forgot what he's got to put under there.
Yeah, let us know, and then that way, maybe some of us will go check it out after for sure. And Dan, what's up, Dan?
Oh, there you go, man. Yes, you got it. You got it. Same to you, sir. Yeah.
Good evening, Dan. Good to see you. Thank you for dropping in as always. Appreciate it. Mark says, I'm glad Danny came on to share his perspective.
Oh, cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So am I. So I should mention, Mark is a collector who also he hasn't been collecting for many years, a few years. And he's also into indie art, but what you would consider the classic indie art, Love and Rockets and and so I had Mark on, right? And as a guest last year. And it was the same kind of thing. I mean, he said he kind of mentioned the same thing when I asked him, I don't think anybody's going to care about what I collect or whatever. And again, I get that. I get why you think that, because yes, it's not mainstream, right? It's got a much smaller cult-like following instead of a giant mainstream following, right? So I get that. Like I told him, I don't care. I may not collect what you collect or what Mark collects, but I have a wide variety of tastes for a lot of stuff, and I like to look at a lot of stuff. And as I mentioned earlier, I like to know what it is that floats your boat about that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm happy to have collectors like you and like Mark on. So I'm glad that you tuned in to get Danny's perspective, Mark. I appreciate that. Never be embarrassed about your OA collection. It's the shit. It's the shit to you, and that's all that counts. Haters can go to double hockey sticks. Yes, you can say hell. Obviously, at this point, we've said much worse on the show, Hart. But he's got a good point. Exactly. Never be embarrassed. Just be happy. Always be proud of what you collect. Doesn't matter if nobody else is into it. Whatever. As long as you love it, that's all that matters. And Carl says, how do indie pieces compare to mainstream pieces price-wise? Do you want to kind of give a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. It really depends on the artist. I mean, you could get, a George Perez. Is that, am I saying his last name right? I hear people say it different.
Yeah.
Perez.
Yeah. So the thing is that in Spanish, it's the emphasis is on the first syllable. So that's why the accent in Spanish tells you what syllable to emphasize. So it's Perez, right? It's just that when you anglicize it, it's hard. Sure. It's not natural. It doesn't come out natural, right? It's more difficult to say it like Perez.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that's why it always, for most people in the English-speaking world, it becomes Perez. You emphasize the second syllable, But for George, I always try to say Perez because of the fact that he in particular, see, most people with that last name, they accept Perez, right? They just go with it. Yeah. But George, his entire career, made it a point to kind of tell people it's Perez. He even published a book of his art, like in the late 70s, early 80s, called Perez, accent on the first E.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and so that's it.
Well,
So
thank you. I like that. That's that helps out. I'm sound like a
yeah,
little,
I mean, like I said,
yeah.
I keep trying. I keep trying. Sometimes old habits die hard, and sometimes Perez comes out. But I still try to, as much as I can, say Perez out of respect for him.
Yeah, exactly. If that's his wish, I mean,
He preferred it that way,
yeah, cool.
But sorry, yeah. So in terms of the whole pricing compared to
I
mainstream,
mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you got a mainstream cover he did, it's going to be a lot more than an indie cover because he did some work for Hero Publishing and stuff. So it's going to be a little cheaper, but it's still pretty expensive. I mean, and for the most part, yeah, I would say that indie art, alternative art, depending on the artist, is going to be relatively cheaper than getting some Marvel stuff.
yeah, for sure. Lee says definitely the artists, the indie pieces I have are from the likes of Dave Gibbons and Mark Hempel. Yeah. Indie could be Robert Crumb. Well, no, Robert Crumb is what you call underground.
Yeah, underground. Yeah, 60, 70 underground stuff.
I mean, it's independent in a sense. It's not like you would be wrong, Knights.
Yeah.
It's not like you'd be wrong, but it's not accurate enough because it literally is part of the whole underground comic book movement.
Yeah.
From the 60s. So it's just, yeah, it's more correct if you just say underground,
Yeah, definitely. That 60 and 70s, I would classify everything as pretty much underground at that point, and then you got like during your 80s and 90s, you got your, people call it alternative titles,
Alternative, right?
Yeah, and then indie is more of a, it's more of a recent thing, I think,
You know what's funny is I remember, and I don't know if this was regional, but where I live here in Montreal, back in the 80s, when especially 1986, when all the black and white indie stuff started exploding onto the scene, and it was like the hottest thing ever. For those of you who were not around at the time, maybe you were too young, or maybe you just got into comics much later. I'll come back to you, Derek, in a second. In 86, there was an explosion, some would say a glut, of black and white independent comics. A lot of it was trash, but some of it was really good. Sure. And where I live, we called them alternates.
Yeah, alternates, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd go to your store and you'd say, oh, do you collect any alternates? The name indie, where I lived, it didn't exist. I never heard that until the online, the World Wide Web came into being in the
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's more of probably a recent term, just indie bands, indie this,
Yeah.
Kind of, not mainstream essentially,
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, yeah. But who knows? Maybe back in the 80s, maybe there were in some, some places in the United States, maybe, let us know. Any of you guys listening and watching right now, if you remember using the term indie to describe non-Marvel and DC comics back in the 80s, we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Let us know. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, because I'm like you. All I heard was alternative. This was this is the alternative section. Here's see, this is
right.
All the weird stuff is over here. Black Belt answers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so Derek, I'm coming back to you. Speaking as someone who is guilty of having an other folder, it's not that I'm not proud of the pieces. I just think I don't have enough pieces to justify a more specific folder. Yeah, that's fine.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I totally get that.
Yeah, a lot of people have other folders anyways.
There's a bunch. I mean,
Yeah. Joe says that Xavier needs some Ripperman pages.
That's one of the titles he did, Joe. He drew Ripperman. That's cool.
I was gonna say, it sounds like Joe's trying to sell you your sons of art. Sorry, I already said hi to you. What's up, Mark? What's up? Good to see you. And Mark, another one of our viewers. Mark is all the way watching live from Singapore.
Wow.
So for him, he's already at work on Monday morning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
That's really cool. By the way, Danny, Knights is asking a question. I'd rather you answer it.
Okay.
Is Danny from Canada too?
No, I'm from Missouri. I live about an hour outside of St. Louis. in a relatively small town.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I saw the comment from Mike here at NSN Art earlier. Niche collecting is the new black. I like that. For some it is for sure. And okay, let me catch up here. Yeah, I see everybody's yes, exactly. So everybody's mentioning some of those indie titles from way back,
Yeah,
man.
great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, man. TMNT was absolutely, one of the earlier indies, 1984, right? Boris the Bear was fun. The Fish Police. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by that, Mike. Alternates, eh? I know you're doing the Canadian thing with the A, but I don't know why. I think you're just doing, you just want to make a joke about me being Canadian. Okay. Is it okay to ask about Ed Piscor art? Of course you could ask. Why wouldn't you be able to ask? I only discovered his art in December 2021. I like his stuff. But what's your question, Carl? I'm not really sure what the question is. Samurai penguins, black belt hamsters. Yes, I bought that. Everyone here bought the black and whites up thinking they'd be rich someday. No, I just thought they were cool and fun. It was just kind of neat to see all this newer, different stuff that wasn't Marvel and DC. I had independent trucks for my Alva skateboards back then. Independent trucks. Okay.
Yeah, wheels. Nice. Okay.
Carl, I remember Troll Lords as well. Those green characters. Yeah. Debbie Gibson just had a concert in Singapore. Debbie Gibson, I can't believe, is also in her 50s now. So that's an interesting thing for us, those of us who are of a certain age and older.
Yeah, I remember music. Good stuff. Yeah.
That's right. Miami Mice. I did remember that. Yeah, that's Mark Bode, I believe, right? Von Bode's son. Dalgota and Maskman were my jam in the 80s. Oh my God, so funny. Okay. So let's continue here with Danny's story. I know we get off track, but then again, when there's so many people actually chatting, willing to chat, it's so easy to sort of get caught.
No, this is fun, man. I enjoy it. Yeah, definitely.
That's cool. Okay, so but I wanted to just touch upon just for one brief moment, if I can, touching back upon the whole thing about the ugly redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
Can you specifically say why was it that because you collect it now, but what was it about this art that you collect now today? What was it about those comics that 30 years ago? Why did you literally thumb your nose down at it at that time?
Okay, well, I guess I collected comics as a kid.
Yeah.
I was raised by my grandfather. He would take me on the weekends, and we would go to like a little drugstore, and I was spoiled. He'd let me pick out as many comics as I wanted.
Oh, that's cool.
Of course, it was all Marvel and DC pretty much at this place I was at.
Yeah.
So I just grew up reading Marvel and DC and just like most people, the first time I ever seen an independent comic was probably we would go to Kmart and again I would go there and buy action figures or whatever, and they used to have like a pack of comics at Kmart. And they would have like Judo Master and E-Man were in those comics, but on the outside was always like a Marvel or DC. So it was kind of like they would, false advertise or whatever.
Yeah,
to get you to buy them, think they were for. And I'd look at it and I was like, yeah, E-Man, okay, Judo Master. And I did like Judo Master just for the fact that, some of you may or may not know I've done martial arts since I've been 5. So judo was one of the first things that I did when I was 5. So I would see Judo Master. I was like, holy cow, this is kind of cool, So I'd read it. Again, it wasn't like my favorite thing, but I just kind of made the connection with it.
It kind of sucks though, don't you think? Like what a letdown it must have been for a kid starting in judo, right? To discover a comic with a character who's literally got judo in his name,
right?
But then you read it and you're like, yeah, it's not so great. Like,
no,
what a disappointment that had to be,
Yeah, it was a little disappointing, and then obviously as I I grew up, got out of comics, obviously, and my attention was drawn to other things, girls, yeah, cars, girls, clothes, all that kind of stuff.
At what age do you remember what age you kind of dropped comics?
Yeah, well, I was raised by my grandfather, and he died when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had to move. I collected all the way pretty much up to that age. As you know, when he died, I had to move in with my parents, and it's a long story. My parents had 5 other kids besides me. I'm the oldest.
Okay.
So I moved in with them. I really didn't even know them that well, to be honest with you. I've not seen them in years, and it was just a long story. But
yeah, no, I get it. No worries, man.
So I moved in with them. I had those comics with me. I just pretty much gave them to my younger brothers and sisters and focused on school and whatever. So it was about 14,
Okay.
And then I went to work. I think it was my junior year in school. I went to work at a place that sold trees, a nursery, right, in a small town that we lived in. And I met a guy there who was a couple years older than I was, and he was a pretty quiet guy. And I was just there to work, I was just there to get money to, buy clothes and, hang out with my friends,
Yeah.
So at lunch, right, he would take, because I work weekends, he would be reading comic books and he'd be looking at trading cards, and I'd be like, whoa, I'd be pretty curious, I'm like, wow, I haven't seen that in quite a few years, it'd been a while, And so I started asking him about him, and he'd start telling me, and I'm like, damn, where'd you get those from? Because we live in a small town. There was no comic books or anything like that. Before that, I grew up in St. Louis, so I was used to.
Oh, so you had access in St. Louis.
Yeah. I went to comic book stores, and I, as a kid, I was spoiled, I was kind of a brat when I was younger. But and then out there, I was like, where are you getting this stuff from, bro? He was started selling me his comics after he would get done reading them, or selling me doubles when he'd get cards, and he kind of got me back into it. You know what I mean? We'd start doing all these what if scenarios because I really had no one to really nerd out with since I was a kid, so we'd start doing all these what if, scenarios, and it was a lot of fun, and then of course, once I got a little bit more reliable transportation and a little bit more money, I decided to go visit the comic book stores he was talking about. And that was probably like 19. So it was like, or wait, no, I was 18. So it was probably like 89. So I took a little bit of break, and I started going to this comic book store, and I picked back up where I left off, when I was younger, I'd go into a comic book store, and of course I knew where Superman was and Spider-Man, all the mainstream type characters. But I would go in these stores when I was younger, and I would look through all the back issues, and I would see like Marvel Spotlight, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" The Adventures in the Fear with Morbius, and then Werewolf by Night, and all these, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, "Damn, who are these people?" I would think I was like discovering something new no one's ever seen before,
Yeah, it's like the Marvel universe. It's not like you knew it. Like it's a whole new universe, right? It's
exactly,
wow.
Exactly. And then I got my Marvel, the handbook, where it lists all the characters, alphabetical handbook.
Oh yeah, the official handbook of the Marvel universe.
Oh, dude, man, that was like the coolest thing ever. I read that thing till like the covers fell off. I'm just like, who's this character? Who's this character? So then I really became obsessed as a kid, trying to find all these characters that I didn't see normally. I'd have Captain America, and I'd have all these other people, and then something else that this will, as I start talking about when I start collecting art, this will kind of go back to this. I remember when I was a kid looking at a comic book, and I believe it was a Green Lantern, and seeing the name Gil Kane. You know what I mean? And I really wasn't into reading the artist. I would see, I'm just skimming through it. I was credits,
Okay, so you were one of those who just liked reading it, looking and reading it, but you didn't really. It just didn't dawn on you that I should care about who drew it or who wrote it or whatever.
And the only reason why I like Gil, because, and this is going to sound really crazy, is because I loved fishing when I was a little kid. So this is probably like 6 or 7 years old, you know me, looking through these comic books, seeing the name Gil Kane and thinking, Gil, that's like a fish. That's funny. You know, I thought it was just the coolest name ever. So then when I'd go out, I'd look, oh, well, look, there's Gil Kane. I'd get the book just because I recognized the name, you know?
Yeah.
And so that factors in later on once I started collecting art, you know? But again, I wasn't like a Green Lantern fan or anything like that. I you know, always preferred mostly Marvel titles.
Okay.
So then, like I said, I started collecting again. And so I go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go start looking through these old, you know, like their back issues and stuff. And I'd never seen really alternative titles, you know, until then. I was like, Innovation, you know, what the hell was this?
Oh, yeah, Bart Sears, that Innovation, maybe.
Oh, dude, man, they had some really cool covers, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know, League of Champions, and I'm looking at Captain Confederacy, you know, Epic, you know, and an Eclipse, you know, Scout. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never even heard of this stuff, you know. And then the shop owner was like, yeah, you know, we have our alternative section is over there, you know, and they had like a big display. All the Marvel, DC obviously were, you know, proudly displayed. And usually towards the back of the store, they had like the alternative titles. And she's like, I just want to warn you, you know, there's a lot of nudity in them and things like that. And every time I would look back there was always some older guys, you know what I mean? There was a lot of older guys, you know, that were looking through all the alternative titles.
Right.
And it kind of reminded me when I was a kid, like going into a bookstore and there would be all like the girly nudie magazines,
right?
Wearing the trench coats, you know. So I was like, oh shit, the weirdos must read alternative titles. I
mean, that's exactly what that was my mindset as well back then, you know.
Yeah, they're all standing there looking through the nudes, you know, picture, you know. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's like, oh my God, I can so relate to that. That's so funny.
But I was fascinated with the covers, but I was so, you know, I was just like, I don't know. I guess because I just grew up with Marvel, I was just like, eh. And then I looked at a Southern Nights cover, and I thought, damn, this is cool. I'm gonna give this a chance. I bought the book. I take it home. I open it up. It's black and white. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, sorry. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I like I said, just so you know, yeah. when I set up every episode, I have to answer a question. Is this content for kids? I always say no.
Right.
So just so you know, you speak freely. That's okay. I don't wanted to make sure you didn't get offended if I or somebody else.
No.
You know, yeah.
I was so disappointed. I was like, I cannot read a black and white comic. Are you kidding me? You know, I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. Yeah. I was so pissed off. I think I threw the book. You know what I mean? I was just like,
yeah.
Oh, that's it. I'm never going to get another. But I love the covers. You know what I mean? I love the way they looked. They were so different looking from Marvel and DC. You know, just the layout, the colors, everything was a little bit different. You know, and so I collected for like 2 years. I bought toys. Man, I went all in. You know, because now I had my own money. I could get back to buying what I wanted and hit subscriptions. I'd go in there, and then I started looking around the shop, and I was pretty frequent there for about a year and a half. On the back wall, they had original art, you know, and I was like,
wow, at your store?
Yeah. I finally got the courage. I was like, you know, what is this? Is this a print, a poster? You know?
What year would that have been, Danny?
This was 90, 91.
Wow. Okay. A store that had some art in it. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And it was like, they were like, oh, this is original art. And I was like, how is this original art? It's this fucking big.
Yeah.
The comics are this small. And they're like, no. See, they explained to me that the art was bigger. And, you know, I was like, I didn't even believe them for a minute. I was like, nah, they're lying to me. This can't be, you know. Yeah. And I thought it was cool. It was like some Dark Horse stuff. And then they had, and again, it was like, I don't even remember because my focus wasn't on it. I remember asking like, how much is this? And they were like, $75. And I was like, you know how many comics I could buy for $75? One page out of a comic? Are you insane?
Yeah.
And so I just thought, nah, you know, that ain't for me. so then I started reading a Ghost Rider, because Ghost Rider was one of the titles. Midnight Suns, Ghost Riders, all those titles that came out in the 90s. I was really into it. And in the back of one of the Ghost Rider book, there was an ad that said, selling original art by this artist, and I look, I'm like, huh, that's who wrote this book. This who drew the book here, And how do you say Mark Texeira? Texeira. Yeah. And so I was like, damn, he drew this book, And so it's like, I call him. This is probably, let me think. I was 20, so that would have been 1991. So I call them, right? They're in Arizona, wherever the company's at. And I'm like, do you have this? Do you have art from this issue? Yeah, we got it. And it was like this page that I wanted that showed Johnny Blaze. He was just working out, but it was neat. It was all black and it had a circle, and he was like punching a heavy bag, and he was lifting weights. Because I was really into training martial arts at that time. I was all in at that point. And I thought, this is cool. I'm going to get this, I'm going to hang it up in my workout area just because it's cool. It's Ghost Riders, he's working out, trying to get in shape. And so I remember, it's back when you had to write a check, send it off, and it would take weeks. And then it'd be like 6 weeks before you'd get your art back, especially living here in the Midwest. I got the art back. I opened it up, and I was like, I don't know. It was just like I fell in love instantly. I was like, damn, this is amazing, right? I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is the most beautiful, and it was a crappy page, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But I was just hooked at that point, dude. I was like, I went back to the shop, and I was like, look at this, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh yeah, it's like this shit I showed you on the wall, they're like,
the guy must be thinking, yeah, exactly. Like that's what I was trying to show you last time. You didn't hear about it. Like, what are you coming to show me for? I already know what it is.
Exactly. Now you're catching on, kid. And
that's hilarious, man.
Yeah, and I was like, I got to get more, dude. I don't know, And I think I paid $75 for that at the time.
Okay.
Which was a lot, even for me. I was like, I had money, and I was working and everything, but
that's a lot of money back then, boy. I tell you,
for like a piece of art, and then. I forget it wasn't Comic Shop News, but it was another paper that was published that was out.
Oh, the Comics Buyer's Guide, CBG?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, they would list all the people in the back, and they had like Albert Moy thing. And
all the classified ads with all the artwork and all that.
Exactly. Wesley Tillander. Have you ever dealt with him before?
I'm sorry, who?
Wesley Tillander.
I actually never got into art until the internet, so I used to look at those ads in the CBG, and I've told this story before. I'll just tell you for your sake real quick. I used to look at them, and they kind of like excited me, but I was brought up in the 80s being told all the time, you never give your credit card over the phone, you never send people checks who you don't know, especially the PO boxes.
Yeah.
So it was drummed into my head, like, you can't do that because they will steal from you. It's probably a scam. And so I used to literally look at this stuff and think, yeah. They're probably going to just take my check, cash it, and they will not send me the art. So I was convinced of that. So I never even tried it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. My parents always gave me bad financial advice. So I was like the opposite. I was like, sure, you want my credit card? I'll just mail it to you, But that in the back of those ads, they had like everything, they had that West guy, he would sell stuff, and Albert Moy had his stuff, and this company called Art Tunes. They had,
I remember.
Yeah, Art Tunes. Yeah, I think they have something on eBay now. And I went all in, dude. I was like buying everything, you know what I mean?
Wow, really?
And I was spending, because I lived at home. I didn't really have any bills.
Right.
I met my wife during that time when I was 20. So we were together. She was always, she was younger, and she was like, whatever, buy whatever you want, I really didn't think too much of the future at that time because I was so obsessed with the art.
Plus, you're so young. At that age, you're not usually thinking about, when I'm 65 or whatever. You're like, I got so long to go. I can spend
exactly.
We have some fun,
Money, what's that? I'm just throwing it out the window.
Yeah.
So I remember Albert Moy sent me like he did like these like a catalog essentially, like he'd Xerox out.
Right.
And I saw Adventures into Fear and I can't remember the issue of it, but it was drawn by Gil Kane, and I was like, "What? Gil Kane? Are you kidding?" That name clicked back into my head.
Right.
I was like, "He drew Morbius at one time? I didn't even know." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm like, "Dude, I gotta get it." I call him. He's like, "All right, that's like $250. Done. You know, I'll send the check." You know, and then I was one of his pretty regular buyers at that time.
Wow.
I bought Son of Satan cover. I bought.
Wow. So cool.
But one of my favorites was I had Tomb of Dracula cover with the first appearance of Blade in it.
You had that one, number 10?
Dude, that thing would have to be worth a fortune now. You know,
yeah,
I would think so, just from Blade's first appearance.
Yeah. It's tens of thousands.
Yeah, and I would look at it and I was like, I didn't really like the way Blade looked compared to like the Midnight Suns. I was like, it's still Blade. It's first appearance. I didn't think much of it, you know. And I went crazy. Dude. I was buying. I had the Human Fly covers. I think I did one that Bob Layton did. I had some ROM covers that he did.
That you bought?
Yeah, I bought. Yeah, I had all this stuff.
So you even had ROM covers?
Yes. Yeah, I had so much cool shit during that time because again, it was all relatively inexpensive. The most I ever paid for a cover back then was $500. It was for Ghost Rider number 25, drawn by Gil Kane.
Oh, the original Ghost Rider.
Yeah, original Ghost Rider. I got it. The only reason why it cost me $500 is because it was matted, professionally matted and framed back then. Someone had it, and I got it from Wes. Wesley Tillander. He was the first person I ever seen who had a layaway program.
Wow.
Right. And dude, I bought so much shit from that guy. I would just every time a new magazine would come out, he'd have a cover. I had like Vault of Evil cover 13. I seen that one just came up for sale recently. Okay. I had a DC cover where it had the Sphinx lifting its paw up, getting ready to hit someone on the ground. I can't even remember. I can't even remember the titles because I would just look at it and buy it. You know what I mean? And Wes would be like, I go, just add that to my layaway. All right. I add every week I'm calling the guy, add that to my layaway, you know. And he would just finance forever, dude. I financed this guy for like 2 years, and man, I got all this stuff. And he gave, I don't know if anybody ever dealt with him back then, but when he would send you something, he would throw in 5, no kidding, to 10 pieces of free art with every shipment.
What?
Yes. Dude, I don't even know where he got it. Was just like some random like DC pages and like some stuff had a little water damage on the bottom, but I don't even know where he got all this art at because he was from Georgia. And I guess he was going to shows, buying it up probably cheap or whatever. And I would take his art, like my good art, like I would take Adventure into Fear cover, and I would take one of the pages that he gave me because I didn't have bags and stuff back then. And I would make a sandwich, right? I would put like the DC page. I put my good art, put another DC page, put it in this plastic tote, you know, and I would just use all this art as buffers for the stuff that I would consider my good art during that time.
Right.
You know? And so I collected, nonstop, buying all the time. Wow. My wife had bought me a gold key painted cover. It was just beautiful, man.
A George Wilson, do you remember?
I don't even remember, but I've been trying to find the cover. I've been looking through, but there's so many. It has a rocket ship. Maybe someone can help me. It had a rocket ship on it. It had like a monster face with the woman screaming and some other stuff. You know, it's one of those covers that had a lot of stuff going on. And it was big. It was the first time I'd seen anything really large, you know. And it was just gorgeous, man. I remember she got it for me for my birthday, and I absolutely loved it. You know, like, wow, this is cool. You know,
yeah,
you know.
Awesome. And let me just interrupt just for a second, if you don't mind. I just want to say this: you're blowing my mind, and I'm sure you're blowing a lot of people's minds with these stories.
Yeah.
You know, having been around not only with your first experience buying art in the, you know, in the 90s, early 90s, but that you were buying as much as you say you were buying, and all these things that you had. Like, this is crazy stuff. This is exactly what I was alluding to earlier at the top of the show about, like, even if somebody doesn't if they look quickly and they don't really care for whatever art you collect, Danny, tune in just for the stories, because you never know what you're going to hear. You don't know, like it might be something, find out something really interesting. And this is exactly what's happening right now. People love to hear stories about people who were buying back in the early 90s, especially when it's like through mail order with CBG and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So fantastic stories. So, and I just want to say quick, speaking of CBG, I put his comment up before, Marcus, but I want to put it up again. He said, back then, the CBG Service Award was a big deal because people were apprehensive of sending money. You're right. And I remember about that award, Marcus. The thing is that unless I'm completely forgetting, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly, a lot of those classified original art ads were like, they didn't have the award posted in it. Like it was just, some of them looked like they were just hand-drawn.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? A lot of them were. Yeah. They weren't typeset or anything.
No. So a lot of the ones that attracted me, I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, Neil Adams, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, or Neil Adams, X-Men. I was a big Neil Adams fan, back then. And I'd be, oh yeah. And I just written by hand, and it's like, yeah, 250. It's like, okay, so even if I trusted you, even if I trusted that, if I didn't have that fear of like giving a check or
sure. Yeah.
I'm still like looking at it and thinking, some guy who couldn't be bothered to do anything other than write by hand and have it printed that way, that was making me nervous. It's like, what?
That level of professionalism. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, as a business owner, I understood.
I was like, I don't know, man, you're making me nervous. So that award, I guess it was good if you happen to already be looking to buy something from somebody who you then saw their advertisement had the award on it, right? But if those classified ads, which most, like I said, I'm pretty sure most of the original art guys did not have the award. Yeah, so it didn't really help. Certainly not me. Some guys mailed out art before the check came. That is true. I've heard that story before as well, which is pretty trusting. But in order for that to happen in the first place, Marcus, I would have to be the first guy to lay my trust out on them, and then find that out, right? So that was the problem for me, Aranga wanted to post his comment, says, Danny's blowing my mind.
Oh, wow.
It would have been criminal if he had decided against coming on the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that,
That's awesome. Thank you, Aranga.
Yeah.
Tom says, wish I was buying art during the very early 90s, but was buying Star Wars, mint in box, collections, and loads of silver and golden age comics. Still, you benefited one way, and if not the other. So that's still cool. But anyways, I'm sorry. Let's I'll let you take the floor again.
No. So I was pretty much I was spending again. I lived at home, so I had bills. I had. So I would pour a lot of money into my art, and then, I collected probably like for 4 years.
Okay.
And I was spending on average probably, like, I don't know, like probably close to like $1,000 a month, back then.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I was like,
in the days of $1.25 comic book cover prices, right? Like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. Wow.
No, I was all in, man. I got like,
no kidding.
People were starting to call me actually at that point.
Really?
Because they knew I bought, and then if they had anything that was like Son of Satan or like Champions as an example, like, because the Champions had Ghost Rider in it, I remember somebody calling me, go, hey man, I got this Champion page. Do you want it? I go, does it have Ghost Rider in it? Yeah. Let's go ahead. I'll send you the check, Yeah. And then
and you would not even bother to say, all right, mail me a photocopy so I can see it.
No, I would just maybe I was too now that I'm listening to you, I'm like, fuck, I was too trusting. I think I'm just like sending people money. Yeah, here's a check, here's $75, here's $50,
But in your case though, I kind of understand, because you had already sort of dipped your toes to begin with. You took the chance, unlike me. You took the chance and you were sent what you paid for, right? And so you already knew what you were kind of getting. You knew what original art was all about.
Yeah.
So I can imagine at that point, it's just kind of the way things were done. So you didn't necessarily expect to be able to see what it looked like. It was just like you said to the guy, well, does it have this character or that character? Oh yeah, then I'll take it because I can afford it. No problem. And then I'll see it when it shows up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how it was, because there was, there was no internet there. I didn't have, I didn't have all the comics, let's say. So even like Albert Moy, I would call him and he'd like, yeah, I got a Son of Satan cover. And I was like, oh, cool. I mean, what does it look like? He would describe it, he's standing in the middle, he's holding his trident. Fuck, that's good enough for me. You got it. I'm buying it. You know what I mean? I was more character driven, obviously, than artist driven.
All right.
So if it had Ghost Rider, Morbius, any of those horror titles, I was really into. I just thought they were just awesome, and I had opportunities to buy, Kirby pieces and X-Men pieces, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I was like, damn, maybe I should have got when I could have bought a Kirby page for like $200 back then. That seemed, it would probably be a lot, but I watched the show because people ask me all the time, do you regret selling?
Right.
And I go, well, the reason why I sold was my wife and I, we were going to get married, and my family and her family didn't really have a lot of money.
Right.
And I wanted it to be a beautiful experience for my wife, so I was like, what? The only thing I have of value is probably my art collection, because I had my own business then. I was teaching martial arts full time, and I wasn't doing it to, that's kind of, I wasn't getting rich by any means,
Right.
We were doing good though. I mean, we were doing better than average, I just didn't really save up a lot of, we didn't have a lot of money in our savings, obviously, because I'm blowing through it buying art and all kinds of crazy shit. But in training, I would go train. I was doing a lot of other stuff at that time, training and going places. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to sell the art. And I was like, well, who do I sell it to? So I called a couple of people and they're like, yeah, we don't want it. We sold it to you,
Yeah. Wow.
And, I don't know if you guys remember when this book came out. You remember this book coming out in 92, I think it was. Yeah.
I have that.
So in the back of it, I'm starting to call everybody in the back of this book. And I think it was Bud's Comic who eventually bought my collection.
Bud? You mean the book dealer? Bud Plant?
Yeah, the one out in California.
Bud Plant. Where is he? Is he in California? I think so.
At that time, yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was somebody in California, if I remember correctly, because it's been so long. So they're like, yeah, we'll take it, sight on scene. And I was like, cool, and I said, if you need to reference people, this is who I've dealt with, you can call them and ask them if I bought it, and they were like, oh, yeah, send the box out. And so, they didn't, obviously I didn't get my money back,
Oh, no. Okay.
No, I probably got about a quarter of what I put into the collection,
Wow.
Yeah, it was, but I was so focused at that time because we were, we were wanting to start a family and my business.
Getting married, family, priorities change, right?
Yeah, priorities change. And I was like looking at it, but it wasn't that big a deal anymore. Probably like, that was like mid 95 to late 95. I didn't even enjoy it as much anymore. I didn't really get it out and look at it all the time. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I could get rid of it. You know what I mean? So I sold it. And of course we had a beautiful wedding and it was well worth it. I don't regret it.
Yeah. That's ultimately what matters is, you feel good with what happened afterwards, benefiting in some way from selling off the collection, right? Even though you didn't financially make a profit and you lost money, but what you got out of it afterwards, I mean, if you felt it was worth it, then absolutely it was worth it, right?
I got a great woman and 3 children and 1 grandchild, so it was worth it, the investment, There
you go. I would say the same thing. Yeah.
But the only thing I wish I could go back and look at, because I had bought so much stuff, I don't even remember half of the stuff
you had.
Yeah. I had like splash pages from the original Ghost Rider series. I had got a whole book of somebody actually called me about this. It was Doc Savage, I think, right? Yeah. Which I didn't even know who the hell that was. Or, my dad's like, oh, I've read that when I was a kid, Doc Savage. I was like, I'll buy it. There was a whole book. It didn't have the cover, but it had the title page all the way to the end. So however many pages that is. And they were like, I want like $5 a page. I was like, my dad knew what that was. Yeah, I'll get it. Why not? They sent it to me. I thought it was cool. I just give it to my dad as a gift. I'm like, here you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Years later, I asked him, I go, whatever happened to that? He's like, I don't know. I probably threw it away or got rid of it, put it in the garage. I don't even know who the artist was. I don't even know. It was Marvel. I don't know who was doing.
I mean, it might have been Ross Andrew, I think. I mean, I know John Buscema did work, but I think it was just maybe the first or second issue. But I think that's been out in the market. So I think, but I don't think it would have been destroyed. I don't know. I'd have to check, but either way, it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, just the fact that anything like that at some point would have been thrown out because people just thought it was like, oh, this is kind of a cool whatever, but like, okay, this has been here collecting dust for years now. Time to dump this crap, and
right. I'm sure that's quite a bit, unfortunately.
That's the sad thing, but wow, okay, so Danny, this has been awesome so far. What I think we should do now is, because we've been talking way longer than I think I ever have before we ever even got to the art yet. Why don't we get started? We'll start showing some art. We'll talk about the art. And then at some point, some way through the show and tell, we'll just take a quick break and you can let all of us know a little bit more, if you don't mind, about your background in martial arts and
sure. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everybody. So why don't we do that? Let's get into the show and tell, and let me just queue up the images. And so I'll let you know, Danny, and the rest of you as well. So typically, when I decide how I'm gonna show, in what order to show stuff, it's often just it's decided by various factors, like how much Marvel versus DC stuff is there, and versus independent stuff. Let's try to mix it up, and let's this artist here and then another artist that's kind of similar down there. Whatever. There's a bunch of factors that go into me deciding how I showed it. Tonight, I want everybody to know, although I, as you know, usually am the one who picks the stuff for the guests, right? So that just to save them from having to do the work. Tonight is one of those rare shows where my guest, Danny, chose the stuff. And he sent me the pieces. So these are the pieces that he wanted to show and talk about the most. So I think that's really cool. But I did decide how we're gonna show them, and how I decided for tonight. Never done this before, but I thought, why not? I just figured I'm gonna show everything in the order that it was published.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah.
I figured, you know what, because a lot of people don't pay attention to this type of art and they're not familiar with it. I thought doing it this way, it might be a bit of a kind of like a little bit of a history of these titles, and these publishers, and they can see it in the sequence that it came out. And, this led to this led to that, or whatever, So I thought, okay, that might be an interesting way to do it. So that's how we're doing it, if that's
sure.
cool.
Yeah, man. That's
okay. All right, sounds good. So that's what we're going to do, everybody. And thank you, probably Andrew. Yeah, there you go, CJ. Thank you. And Ian says, it's been enjoyable so far. I appreciate it.
Man. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. So yeah, let us get into the first piece, everybody. And for this, we start with the year 1982. Okay. And let's check this one out.
Yes, the Champions role-playing game. Yeah, art. Mark Williams. Okay, so I really got into like hero
RPG stuff.
In hero, the company. I just was a fan of the Flair and League of Champions. Right. And so this goes back, this is a throwback, right? So of course, when I was looking for Marvel Champions, I would do back issues and I would see League of Champions because it was just thrown in the mix. And, again, I was like, what the hell is this? Right. I've never seen it. But I remember as a kid, I remember hearing about like hero games, right? Like, I know Dungeons and Dragons were real popular. And my friends and I would play this game called Shinobi, which is another role-playing game. Obviously in the 80s, there was the ninja craze, all the ninja movies, all that stuff. And of course, being in martial arts, I wanted to be a ninja during that time. But I remember seeing the Champions game there, right? Because I like comic books, but of course I didn't remember any of the characters because, it was its own universe. But Mark Williams was, when Hero Games came out, I think he was like 18 years old. He was like the lead, lead artist, and he drew the original Champions, that became the League of Champions later on. And so I wanted a piece from him because he was the guy who drew the original. Now, it's not from the League of Champions group per se, but right. It is, that's really hard to find. I haven't been lucky to find anything yet. But I did like this. I just thought it was pretty cool, because he was a really interesting guy. I think I thought you would like this because he also worked as a designer for Poison and Alice Cooper, designing their covers. Yes.
Oh wow, that is so cool. Yeah. Wow, that is really neat. Holy crap!
I thought you would dig that.
Yeah.
And, him and Ricky Rocket, the drummer for Poison, started their own comic book company in the 90s that was called what was it called? No Mercy Comics. And the Sisters of Mercy and Nightshade. I don't know if you remember those. I don't remember when they came out, but
Nightshade sounds familiar. I don't know if I remember Sisters of Mercy, but interesting.
Yeah, it was. So I thought, this is cool. I mean, this is the lineage. This is where it all began, right? The Champion. So I like the whole universe, even the game. Obviously, I would be happier if it was, Flair or
well, sure,
something like that. But I still think it's cool,
Yeah, it's a cool little piece. Either way, it's a good little piece of history from that. Exactly. So whatever, you can't, beggars can't be choosers, and that type of stuff from those RPGs. From what I've seen, it's not like it's out there and like, oh, I can buy whatever I want. There's so many everywhere, and I don't really see them. No.
I during my research when I'm because I started getting into the indie comics, alternative comics. So I started getting really into like before when I was a kid, it was researching all the obscure characters. But then I got hooked on just for whatever reason, researching all these obscure companies in the 90s and how many alternative comic groups were started. I mean, there's hundreds that were popped up. They had like one or two comics, or maybe they had a few, and of course they're trying to it's like trying to open a little hardware store right next to Walmart. You're going to get, compare like Marvel's Walmart, you're going to get destroyed, but I really, appreciated the effort, that they put out. And so I'd research them, I'd look it up. And a lot of times I would call and I'd call these people, I called Hero Games or communicated with them, email, and they're like, most of that stuff probably got thrown away. You know what I mean? Wow. All the stuff that was in the warehouse probably just eventually got pitched. Mark Williams died at a relatively young age. So there's not a lot of examples of his art. He passed away, I think he was like in his 30s or something, so.
Wow. Oh, that's really young.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of examples of his artwork out there, that I have seen floating around. But
oh, that's cool. Well, you have one at least. That's pretty neat,
Yeah, man. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So the second piece tonight is a comic that I think a lot of guys at our age, even though we may have not ever read them, I can tell you just for myself, I've never read any of the comics that we're showing tonight, but I do remember most of them. So I remember. And actually, a lot of the time when I didn't buy it, in fact, most of the time, if I didn't buy it, it's not because I necessarily didn't want to, because I loved looking at all the independent stuff. Mm-hmm. It's because I didn't have money. Like I had a little bit of money, but I was such a Marvel nut that I wanted to get all the Marvel stuff, like a lot of people, right? As much as I could.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to get some DC stuff as well. So, okay, then I got to put some money into DC.
Right.
Oh, but then, but then Ninja Turtles, I got to get that. And,
Sure.
but you can't buy it all kind of thing,
Yeah.
So this next one is Southern Nights. And I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, yeah, I should try that, but I don't have money for it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the book, if you remember anything about it. But
Yeah. Again, I didn't read it when it came out, or I didn't read it the second time I got into collecting. This was when COVID hit. That's when I started. We worked at my wife and I worked at a hospital, a psych hospital, and I've always taught martial arts, and then made the transition to teaching online. But at that time, COVID hit. We got laid off, right? So we're at home. I got nothing to do but get on the internet and look around and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what? Let me try putting in original comic art, right?
Yeah.
And that just kind of opened the door. It was COVID that really got me back into collecting. And I just started looking around at different things. And of course, I saw the prices of what Marvel was going for. And I thought, well, you know what? That, I'm not even really, I lived that nostalgia, when I was in my 20s. So that part of my childhood, I'm going to start looking at all these alternative titles. And I'd never read it before until recently, where I started buying the books.
Oh, really?
And I thought, this is pretty neat. I started buying all those books that I would thought were black and white, Faust, Southern Nights, League of Champions, anything I could get my hands on. I started reading. I was like, damn, this is pretty good. I wouldn't have appreciated that when I were younger, but as I, got a little bit older, I could appreciate it. And the draw for me with Southern Nights was the dragon always. I was like, how cool! They have a superhero name with a dragon in it, and it's a pretty neat story. It's I like it. It's Mark Propst does a great job. I really enjoy his art style and his work. He pretty much did the majority of the work in these titles. There were some other guys before him, but I really like it. I just thought it was pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of an album cover,
Yeah, this exactly. This one, is more typically comic booky.
Yeah,
this is more like you say, more album coverage.
Yeah, it reminded me of some kind of, I don't know if it was, I don't know what band, but I've seen a cover similar to this. Like a rock band, and I just thought, man, I just know that I've seen, the guys' heads are in that position. So I don't know. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and between this and this, did you get these both around the same time, or is it one you found one and then later got another? Or how did that sort of come to be?
Oh, Queen. That's right. It is Queen. Exactly. Somebody said Queen.
Yeah. Oh, there you go, Mike. Thank you, Mike.
No, these are pretty recent. I got these at an auction here, pretty recent. They had three. They had three covers up, and I was going to bid on all three of them. And then I didn't want to be a jerk and take all three of them.
Really?
The one that I was less desirable, I could have got it. Now that's the kind of person I am. I don't want to be I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the guy would outbid me, but I could have got it for the cost that these were going for. But I was just like, nah, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to get all three covers. And
really, wow.
I don't know. It just
I gotta tell you, like, nobody really thinks that way in this hobby, man. It's like truly each man for himself or each woman for themselves. Like, like if it's especially if it's at auction, I mean, it's a free for all, right? It's whoever, if you're willing to pay more than everybody else, you have the right to buy it. It's you should not feel bad.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. I just didn't want to be that guy. I don't know. I just thought, somebody else would like to enjoy it. It's not my favorite cover. I'll buy it if nobody else bid on it. But somebody bid, and I was like, if they want it, I mean, I'm not like I'm like the Godfather giving.
No, but you are a gentleman. Like, what a gentleman collector you are. To you were feeling there's three covers, and you're like, okay, I got two. I don't want to be too greedy. Let somebody else enjoy it instead of me. But I guarantee you, those people would not have felt the same way. And if you know that the people that are going after the stuff you're going after, they tried to get it. They don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I see what you're saying. You know,
it's interesting, man. I'm just saying, like, it's a pretty interesting attitude you have about that. Wow.
Yeah, but you know, I like you like what you said. You know, I just enjoy, you know, interacting with people, helping people. If I see something that somebody wants, you know, I'll be like, dude, this is, you know, this you may enjoy this more than I do. You want it, you know. It just, you know, I'm not married to anything. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like you. Like, if I could sell the collection, and I went through different phases. You know, it's just you know, it's more like for the interaction now for me. It's like the enjoyment, like you said earlier to me, like it's hanging out with people, and yeah, I'll buy stuff, but it ain't, you know, I'm not going to be cutthroat to do it or stamp in the back or.
Oh yeah. I get that totally. Yeah. I mean, you've been around in the hobby long enough to know what's what, you know, and I guess it's like, you know, like we're the same age. You get to a certain age, and you're kind of like, you know, I've had all this other stuff and sold that to get married and have kids. Then I got back into it years later, and now I got this stuff. But again, if the time is right, something else comes up, like I'll part with this stuff too, right? It's that kind of attitude. And
yeah, exactly.
Somebody else will end up enjoying it, whatever, and
sure.
Not going to be buried with it or whatever, you know. So
right.
Yeah, so that's very cool. I like that, man. I like that. TJ says, Ruben, the cutthroat bidder. Listen, man, TJ, hey, when I am buying, I will, if I really want it, I'm going to bid as much as I'm willing to pay. I don't care. I don't care about who's underbid or whatever. Like, if I want it, I'm going to go for it. That's whatever, man. That's how it is. But I don't really go super hard for most stuff anymore anyway. So like you were saying, it's all about more than anything. It's about just the camaraderie with everybody else, you know?
Yeah. You know, I just want one or two examples. I don't need 10 examples. You know what I mean? Even though part of me, then I think back and I'm like, oh damn, maybe I should have done it. But I'm like, you know what? There's always something to buy. You know, there's not a lack of stuff to buy, you know?
Absolutely. Our friend Cab is back, and he says, just dropping in for a little while. Lovely eye for original artwork, Danny.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And I echo CJ's views. Danny, you are like a breath of fresh air.
Well, thank you. You know.
So very cool. Thank you for dropping by again, coming back, Cab. I appreciate it as always. Okay, so let us take... by the way, Marcus, you know what's funny about that? You saying that I use my cut bids? I got to tell you, I've used them, but more often than not, I'm just like, should I use it? Okay, you know, should I use it now? And then I'm like, you know what? I'm still willing to bid more. Let me just bid, and I just end up using the big red button, just the full increment. It's rare that I bother with the cut bid. I have rarely won on a cut bid, so I'm just like full bid increment, whatever. It doesn't matter, you know. As long as you know I'm bidding what I'm willing to pay, it doesn't really matter, you know. I figure why try to be a little cheap if I know I'm willing to pay more than that half increment or whatever, you know.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
that's how I see it. Comic Boston says, yes, Danny, and you don't need the humble brag as well. What? He wasn't humble bragging. Are you accusing him of humble bragging, Cab? Or maybe he I don't know. He's not that type of person to accuse you of humble bragging.
Yeah.
I don't think he was. I think he's just trying to say, oh, hold on. Too much chatter about prices. Oh, okay. Yeah, because we often talk on my show about, like, you know, people are focused too much on the values and the art, you know, the money and what it's worth, and getting excited because it's worth money, you know.
Yeah.
And nothing. So no, he's not. He didn't mean that as like an insult.
Oh no, I didn't take it that way. No, I thought it was
Ian says they fail me. What does that mean? I'm not sure. Hold on. They fail me. Oh, the cut bids. Is that what you mean, Ian? Marcus says cut bids are a sign of weakness to the other bidder. That's a good way to put it, actually, you know, because I have to admit, when I see it happen, I'm like, oh, he's trying to tell me that he's kind of reaching his maximum or has reached his maximum. He can't afford much more. So I'll just do a half bid, right? You're letting me kind of know the jig is up. So I'll just hammer you with the full bid. So you're kind of right on that, I think, with that strategy, Marcus. So yeah, good point. Hey, Hart, thank you, Hart, for permitting to be a steward of your artwork. Okay, referring to having bought some of Hart's artwork last week. Okay, what are cut bids, says Carl. Somebody in the chat will explain it to you, because I don't think you're being serious, though. Clarification, humble bragging by other collectors. Thank you for clarifying. I know Danny certainly wasn't doing that. Oh, not Danny.
Nice.
Okay, and it seemed so out of character for you, Cab, so I figured as much.
Sure.
You're welcome, okay. Not bragging, if it's true, I won on 2 different, hey, what's up, Larry Wong? Won on 2 different cup bids. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying you can't win. People do win on cup bids, for sure, whatever, but I just figured, whatever.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know what that was, so you guys just, I had no clue.
Oh, so do you not use, do you never bid on heritage auctions?
Never, no.
Oh.
My son does, though. He buys stuff on heritage,
Oh, ask Xavier to tell you what a cut bid is.
Yeah. I'll have to. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you really quickly. So when you're bidding, let's say, you know what a bid increment is, right?
Sure, yeah.
So let's say you're at that increment where it's like, let's say it's $200 at a time, let's say, right?
Okay.
On heritage, to put a bid in, if you're bidding live, right? Because it's not like Comic Link, right? Because you're familiar with Comic Link?
That's what I bought. Yeah, that's what I bought.
Right.
First time and only time I've ever bought art was those.
Okay, right. So Comic Link, you put that bid in.
Yeah.
And then the auction for that, that item, it ends at a specific time, right? It just ends and that's it, right?
Right. But
when you're live on heritage, it's literally live, and you're just, let's say you're hitting a button, and every time you hit the button, it's it puts in another increment in another increment.
Yeah.
But there's another button to the left of that, which is for a cut bid, which it allows you to put half the usual increment. So at the $200 level, if you hit the cut bid, it's like for people who are like, oh, I can't afford anymore, but what the heck? I'll do a cut bid. I can't afford $200 more, but maybe I can afford 100 more. One last bid.
Oh, I see. I've never heard of that. No,
and maybe I can win it.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I learned something new there. That's nice.
That's what it is. So so there you go. Cup bids. No, like I said, cup bids do sometimes work. I agree. I probably won on cup bids too. I don't remember, but I'm just saying over the last few years, I just don't even bother with it really. I don't know what cup. Oh, I do. I don't know what cup bids are for real. Well, now I just explained it, Carl, to Danny. So hopefully you were listening. And if not, rewind it.
Yeah.
But if I really want something, I cut, then I slash. Don't tell us your Don't tell us your strategies. You might start losing soon. I bought, I think you meant to say, 2 Warrior Plasm pages from Xavier Hoskins last year. Look at that.
Yeah. My son, he bought. They were David Latham pages, and they were pretty nice. He got them for me actually. He bought some art for me, and because he was getting started, I was like, I'll give here you go, try these out. He liked the Warriors of Plasm, so.
That's cool. I like the fact that you got him to get him started. I like the fact that you sold him art and not just, here, son, let me get you started by giving you some art, No,
I've given him some great deals. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, just because he wanted to get into it. And then he took off on his own, and, he likes, the stuff that he likes. So. Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if it's just because I missed it. Somebody tell me if I did, but I didn't notice, Xavier, if you ever did confirm with a comment as to whether your calf name is, are you using Xavier Hoskins or are you going by something else? Let us know.
Yeah, he's a big gamer, so I'm sure he's like playing.
Oh, okay.
No, probably he probably just dropped in to say hi, Dad, and he's
yeah. No worries. But Larry thanks you. There you go. Friend and family prices. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. let us go to the next piece, everybody, in tonight's show and tell. And yes, this one I remember fondly. I don't know why fondly, because again, I never read it, never bought it, but I just really remember the cover and thinking, oh yeah, it's just so cool looking, you know?
Yeah.
So let's check this out.
Yes. You know, this Captain Confederacy, man, I've gotten so much trash talk over the about Confederacy collection
because of the Confederacy thing.
Yeah. You know, I grew up. I liked it. You know, the Confederate flag I thought was always cool when I was younger. I grew up during that time. Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, right.
Skinner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The flag was everywhere, and when I was collecting in the 90s, I remember seeing a poster on the wall at the shop, and it had like, you know, it was one of those posters that had different things that you know, comic books coming, and one of them was Captain Confederacy, and I thought, oh wow, that's kind of cool, you know. And looking through the back issues, I kind of saw it, and I thought, wow, that's kind of neat, you know. And I didn't read it. I just, you know, reminded me of the General Lee, right, Dukes of Hazzard,
right.
And I, you know, as I got a little bit older, I started thinking, you know, wow, I saw another thing, another picture of Captain Confederacy, and I was like, oh yeah, man, you know, I'm like, who did that? And I started, you know, reading, you know, now I was paying more attention to the artist. And before, what I did was I only interacted with dealers, but now what I like to do is I like to pretty much only interact with artists themselves.
Okay.
And so I contacted Vince Stone and was like, dude, I remember seeing your book in the 90s. I really didn't read it, but I enjoyed your artwork. And, you know, do you have any art for sale? And he's like, you know, yeah, man, I got all these covers left if you're interested. And he's just a nice guy, man. He telling me about his time in comics, and just a really, I thought it was a really nice guy. You know, I got the impression that, you know, he had got some flack later on because of the whole Captain Confederacy thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you know, because I've had people on different Facebook groups, you know, oh, you must be racist, or I'm like, dude,
oh, really?
Oh my God, dude, I can't even get into it. It's just
you mean like you go to the different Facebook groups and you post it to show the artwork?
Yes.
And then they start telling you, "Oh my God, you Confederate!" You know, like
I had like 50 people coming at me on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it was sick. You know, I was like,
you know, look, man, I gotta say, I probably shouldn't get into it, but it's like we've gotten to a place in society where there's so much of this the political correctness, right? And I'm politically correct in terms of like when, you know, things that I used to say or believe in when I was a kid,
right?
And I didn't really understand it, and I've since learned that it's actually rooted in offensive, you know, whatever it is.
Exactly.
I'm sensitive to that, and of course I don't do and say those same things anymore. Of course, right?
Right.
But I find like there's this fine line between understanding the history of it. Like you were mentioning, you didn't know better. Like you were thinking, you saw this, it looked cool because you were thinking, oh, I was watching Dukes of Hazzard and I love the car, the General Lee, whatever. Right. Me too. Yeah. Look, I'm Canadian. And I didn't know who General Lee was. I didn't know the word Confederate, what it meant, Confederacy, what that meant, right? Like, right. And then maybe a couple of years later, when I'm still a kid, maybe in my early teens or something, right? I then found out that the word Confederate, Confederacy, it just had something to do with like soldiers in the 1800s in America, right? I still didn't know that, you know, the story behind it, but okay, I don't know, some war thing. It was a war thing, you know. Right. I still didn't understand that it was rooted in, you know, whatever, slavery, racism, all that, you know, stuff, whatever. And people today, everybody wants to pretend to be offended, is what I find, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody wants to bring attention, especially online. Okay, online. There's this just everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. That's why the whole TikTok thing is so popular, right? Everybody wants to be famous for something, and if they know they can't be famous, they just want to draw attention to themselves. And that's how I feel. I feel like it's much ado about nothing. Again, I'm not saying you should go out there wrapping yourself in Confederate flags or whatever.
Sure. No, I agree. Right.
But for someone like yourself who owns a piece of comic book artwork about this, for people to not know that it probably has more to do with your nostalgia for the comic from back when it came out, when you knew nothing about what it really meant, right?
Right.
And you just like the look of the costume or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
It's just cool, man. The layout of the cover,
right.
it looks cool.
Because I remember seeing that cover, and again, because I didn't know what the word Confederate meant, I didn't know anything about that. Right. I looked at that cover and I just thought, oh, cool, another patriotic, like American hero, like Captain America, but like independent or whatever,
Right.
I was like, yeah, whatever. And I thought it was a kind of a crappy name because I was like, why would they come up with this fancy word like Captain Confederacy? What is that? I'm like, doesn't sound too good. I don't know what that means, but who cares? It's a cool looking costume, whatever. That's it, right? So it's just I find it's just everybody wants to be offended. Oh, look at me, I'm offended. Please come and support me, online and show me how you stick up for me. And while we trash this other person and and drive them to suicide every now and then,
Oh, yes, horrible. Yeah.
So whatever. Sorry, everybody. I wanted to get off my soapbox, but I
agree 100%. And actually, I've read the book. I've read, the Steel Dragons when it was published in Steel Dragons, and obviously later on, Marvel, put it out. There you go, Mr. Xavier. There you go. But it's actually like against racism, right? It's like in this alternate universe, which all of us Marvel fans should be used to, right? It's where the Confederacy got its claim on southern states and different regions, the U.S. are different territories now, and it's actually the guy is fighting against, let's say, racism, right? So it's not like he's
not pro.
No, he's actually. Now, of course, there's some words in it that people are going to be offended by.
Right,
but again, it was wrote during the 80s. And, if you look at most 80s movies, people are stereotyped, being of, Native American descent myself, Indian movie, Indian people represented back in, even that term is offensive now, but I don't get offended by it.
Well, what is the proper term for most people to accept these days?
Well, for Native American people, it would be like Indigenous American. Indigenous is normal.
Indigenous?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, it was Indian. You know what I mean? American.
Yeah, right.
And then it was
totally offensive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But I don't. It is what it is. You know what I mean? In that time period, movies were I wouldn't call them racist. They just stereotype people. All genres people were stereotyped and it comes through a lot of times in the comics. Some of the comics are a little, characters can be, a little stereotype. But so I don't get offended. I look at the period of it and and I enjoy it.
It's all about context. People need to get some context, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
For sure. And by the way, if I can just circle back for a second.
Yeah.
Native American, is that okay? Or is it still preferred to say Indigenous American?
I say Native American, but I actually had a elder correct me once.
Wow.
He was like, and they were a little on the extreme side because I've spent a lot of time going to Native American or Indigenous reservations. It's one of the researches that I do. I research Native American warrior traditions and, basically what's left of, because these people had martial arts as well, ways of fighting, combat, just like every culture, it's just not well known because, of course, they were defeated. So how good could it be if they were defeated? But so like I was on a place, and I used to call my research Native American warrior arts, which I still do. And then I had an elder said, well, if and this sounds horrible, but he was like, if some white guy is born here in America, he's a Native American. Our people are indigenous. We were here first, Danny. You got to remember that. And I was like, you know, and there's again, to me, it's almost like there's racism everywhere. You know what I mean? Like even, you know, it sounded kind of racist to me with the way he was saying it. You know,
Right.
I'm like, dude, I don't get hung up on it, bro. You know, it's you know, it's all it has good intention. My term, you know what I mean?
Right.
My opinion is the native peoples here. You know,
yeah.
But my teachers, you know, I was working with a shaman in Arizona, and he called his arts the American Indian Fighting Arts Association, and you know, so that term wouldn't fly today for sure. You know,
that's wild.
Yeah.
So I mean, what about? And sorry to keep this going, everybody, but I think it's very interesting from a historical perspective.
Yeah.
Well, you know, respecting other people's cultures and backgrounds. If somebody is just saying, like, if I'm reminiscing with a friend or whoever, or even here on my show, if I was reminiscing and talking about my past, is it also offensive if I say the word Indian in terms of, so yeah, back when there was a time when we used to play cowboys and Indians.
Exactly.
So even saying that, is that offensive, or are you supposed to say we used to play cowboys and Indigenous Americans?
I say Indian. I still use the term. You know, I don't find it personally. I don't find it offensive. You know, it is what it is. You look at the history of the word. You know, all the stuff Christopher Columbus thought he was going to. You know, the Indies, all that stuff. So I don't find it offensive. You know what I mean? But it would have to be like, you know. Now, if you were maybe on a reservation and you were around a group of elders, maybe I wouldn't say that term.
Right. Yeah.
But most of those people, they're just like us. They're just people. People are people. They laugh. And, you know, the first time I remember I was taking a Navajo reservation, and my teacher's like, we're going to meet these elders. You know, you need to bring a medicine gift, Dan. And I was like, you know, what the hell's a medicine gift? I don't know. I grew up in Missouri. You know, I mean, I'm Native American heritage, but, you know, I didn't grow up in a teepee or anything. I don't know what, you know, you know, I don't know. I live in a house. What's a medicine gift, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just bring something that means something special, you know? And so, like, I've always been into, like, rock hunting, looking for arrowheads and fossils and things. Okay. So I found this really nice arrowhead, and I go, you know what? I'm going to take this down. I'm going to present this to the elder. He's going to think that it's really cool, you know? And I get down there and we go in this place. I'm nervous, man. I'm thinking I'm meeting all these elders. I can't even imagine what this is going to be like, you know? And they all had their, like, they were all in the military. Most of them were in the military, and they had, like, they were Vietnam vets and Korean vets, you know? And so they had, like, you know, they were showing off their regalia, you know, with their military regalia. And I remember I come in there and they're like, hey, man, did you bring any donuts? And I was like, no. So they like, oh, right away, I thought, oh, these are just like normal people, right? They're elders. They're just cool. You know, these guys wanted to know if I brought donuts, you know? Yeah. And I'm listening to their war stories, and it was an awesome experience, you know? And they're like, then my teacher's like, Swift here, he says, you know, Danny brought you a medicine gift, right? It is a percent something from his, you know, from his area, because I'm not Navajo, right? Apache Indian descent. And I was like, oh, yeah, I found this. And he takes it and he's looking at it and he's like, he said, did you get this in the traditional way, right? Did you acquire this gift in the traditional way? And I'm like, I don't know what to say, right? I'm looking around. My teacher's going, I go, why, yes, I did. You know what I mean? He's like, okay, we'll accept your gift. And, you know, and they were all like, you know. And it was cool. And so then later I'm like, what's the traditional way? What the hell does that mean? He's like, well, did you ask the rock if it wanted to go with you? And I go, I got to ask the permission. And I go, he's like, yeah. You said you picked this. I mean, and this is like all, you know, Native American lore and stuff, you know. He's like, you pick this arrowhead up and, you know, you don't know, maybe it has a spirit attached to it, because they're really, you know, because my teacher was a medicine man. He's like, you don't know if it's got a spirit attached to it. You know, you pick the rock up and you ask it if it wants to go with you, you know. And then if it gets warm in your hand, then yes. If it gets ice cold, then the spirit doesn't want to go. And then if you take it, you must leave something behind in its place. And I'm like, well, what? He said, you know, you can leave hair, spit, or semen. It's your choice.
Nice.
And I was like,
it ain't gonna be the third one.
So I was like, yeah, you know, I don't know about, I'm like, so every time I pick something up, I got to ask if it wants to go with me. It seems a lot of work, but it made them happy, and it was a fun experience and neat story.
That's really cool. Hey, I just wanted to mention because it already happened 53 like 13 minutes ago. Our friend Karen left. She had to leave, but she wanted to say great show. Danny, I really enjoyed listening to your stories. I have to leave a bit early tonight, but I'll catch the rest on Rewind.
Sure. Thanks for coming by. I really enjoy her channels. You got some great stuff. Great content.
You've been checking her stuff out too?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Commodore Boston. Cab says, a very nice piece, and these are very refreshing pieces of artwork.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. And then there's a bunch of good nights to Karen. And Knights says, don't get us started, Ruben. The unwillingness to ask someone's intent is sad.
Yeah, it is true.
Yes, exactly. I pretend to be cool. Am I cool, guys? I'm cool, right? What? Xavier came back. You see that? My cat name is Mr. Xavier, by the way.
That's right. Now I remember it. Yeah.
Everybody, check it out and check out his stuff and leave him some comments if you want. That's cool. And for those of you coming in late, Xavier happens to be Danny's son. So there you go. Yeah, very cool. AKA Keyboard Warriors, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Xavier, Marcus wants you to change your name to Professor Xavier. There you go. You already answered him for real. Okay, cool.
Yeah, nice.
That's awesome. Oh, okay. Now I didn't realize. Sorry, honey, I didn't catch you. That was like almost 8 minutes ago. Have a good night, Vivian. Good night. Thank you for tuning in as always and supporting me. Let me see. Good night, everybody.
That's awesome. Your wife, checks in. That's cool, man.
Yeah, she's not into this at all. She's never been into the hobby, whatever. But she's from the beginning. She's just kind of comes in, and until she has to go to bed. She was to bed fairly early, but until it's her bedtime, she sticks around and just.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which is why I mentioned early on about you that it was cool that you have some family members show up, and friends and whatever. Like it's nice to be supported in the stuff we do, right?
For sure, definitely.
People that love us, right?
Yeah.
That we love. So he should have brought. Marcus says he should have brought comic art. What do you mean? Are you referring? Who are you referring to?
Oh, to the elder. Yeah, I did actually take my teacher Swiftier Sid Shores. It was a Red Wolf sketch he did with him throwing a knife that I got. Yeah, and I gave it to my teacher. He thought it was pretty cool, actually. So
wow.
I have done that, actually.
That is
a scout page. Nice.
Yeah, by Truman. Yeah.
Which I had some scout art for a while that I sold, But
that's funny. The Rock was playing hard to get, says CJ.
Oh yeah, exactly. Very.
Oh, CJ, happy ending.
Yeah. Like wow, that's.
Marcus makes another good point too. When you put it on Facebook, you're asking for comments from everyone.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is what it is, but okay. I apologize, everybody. We are doing so much talking that we're only not even 20% of the way through this show and tell. So let's get on with some more artwork. Yeah. But I love it, by the way, Danny. I like I say, for me, more so than the actual show and tell, it's about the talking and the stories and the getting to know. I'm actually happy. I know some people they stop watching because they're like, you guys, this guy's talking too much. You won't shut the hell up,
Yeah.
I got to be me. I love it, So, I appreciate it. Okay, so we'll go to the next one, and the next one is also. So that was this last one here, just to show it one more time, real quick. It's from Vince Stone, 1987, and then we go directly to this one.
Yeah, another one I got from him. I got about 15 covers from him. I just like this one, like the moon and the road, and you can see the trees and the dash light, lit up green, and I just thought it was cool, and again it shows the people are realizing that Captain Confederacy is a Yankee dupe, right? He's not really a true Confederate, right? He's changing sides. So yeah, I just thought it was a really neat. I just like it a lot, the layout of it.
Yeah, I like the fact that at first my eyes go to Captain Confederacy, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool, he's posing or whatever. and then my eyes go down and I realize, oh, I'm inside a car.
Yeah.
And my eyes go back up and I realize, oh, Captain Confederate, that's just a billboard that the driver's passing by.
Yeah, it's really cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's really neat, and I just thought it was neat. I like the green for some reason.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just it's a nice color choice for a monochromatic interior of the car. You know.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. Yeah.
So Corey says he likes this one a lot.
Oh, cool.
And CJ says, no, you have his calf listed. We can look while we chat. Well, I have Danny's, but we're talking about his son, Xavier. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. A station wagon dashboard. I wouldn't know. I never had a station wagon.
Oh, dude. Well, here, I'll just tell you quickly. My first car was a station wagon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was a brown station wagon. It had wood panels, and my dash light, this is going to be hilarious, but my dash light was out. So my dad rigged this light he found, which was red. So it made my whole dash glow red. So when I'd go pick up my wife, my girlfriend at the time, my car would just be glowing red on the inside at night. You know what I mean? Wow. So when I look at that, it makes me think that like the green, makes me flashlight.
Yeah. Brings you back to that. That's cool. That's cool. And what did I want to say here? Oh, Corey is asking, does Vince Stone have any more covers for sale?
I bought everything he had.
There you go.
Yeah.
Corey, start contacting Danny and hassling him.
He acted like no one ever had asked him before about his art, which he was like, first he asked me like, why do you want this art? Basically he's trying to figure out, what's your purpose behind getting it. He's like, yeah, man, nobody's really asked me about it before. And he was willing to sell it. And we had some great conversations, super nice guy.
Cool. Tom Katalowski, what's up, sir? Good to see you. Chicago in the house. Nice. And Carl says, now I'm hearing Meatloaf music. Cornering the market on stone art. Well, apparently Danny already did. So, which is why Corey can't start a Vince Stone collection of art. Hey, man, that's what happens in a one of a kind type hobby. It's whoever gets there first, I guess, right?
Yeah. Now I know he does have some. He has some.
Probably has interiors, I would think.
He didn't keep his interiors from it. No, he just kept the covers. He does have some non-published artwork that's really cool. If someone's into like the Falcon, or he did like this Captain America. He kind of like, I guess I don't know what do you call it? He tried to present try to get a job with Marvel.
Like a tryout, a sample.
Yeah, and he did like stories, and he has some of that stuff, which I think looks fantastic. But again, I'm not really into buying, Falcon, right. But it's cool, somebody's into that's your thing. It's not published, but it was during the 80s and 90s that he did this stuff. So
yeah, well, there you go, Corey. Look him up. Where? Facebook, maybe?
Yeah, that's how I got a hold of him. I just reached out and he's like I said, great guy. Great guy.
Cool. What's up, Rick Cirillo in the house? Good evening to you, my friend. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, let's go to the next piece, everybody. And for that, we go to this one. Tell us a little bit about this.
League of Champions. Okay, well, this is again, it's combining my two favorite superhero teams, right? The League of Champions and the Southern Knights, and I just really it's like one of those things you got to appreciate up close. I love the line work on it, the detail. I mean, Mark Propst, I thought did a great job on this one, and it just I like that storyline. It's like the Morgan Wars, they call it, where they did this crossover, which later on Heroic Publishing bought the rights to Southern Knights and is now in their, kind of in their lineup now. So, but I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, tons of characters. So it's like,
he was shy on the characters. That's for sure. Yeah.
No, that's really neat. Oh, and Shaggy, what's up, Shaggy? Shaggy Wong says sample pages are great too. Yeah, they're fun. They could be fun. They're interesting, and an interesting insight into seeing how an artist's talents were or skills were at the time that they were trying to break in.
Yeah.
So you can learn from that. So yeah, they're fun, and they're usually pretty affordable as well. So it's interesting. Corey says, I'll watch the rest on show tomorrow. Great show. Good night, everyone. All right, Corey, have a good night, buddy.
Yeah.
Sample pages are not free samples, Carl. No, they are not.
Yeah.
But let me know if you ever do find an artist who wants to give them away for free. Yes. And Hart also likes his cover. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, very neat. Cool. And from there, we're going to go to this next one. Here, let's check this one out. The unpublished one this time. Southern Nights, but unpublished. Tell us.
Yes, this was in issue 35. George Perez, right? Did I say that right?
Perez, yeah.
Okay. He I'm trying to work on it. He actually published the one that they went with, but this was undone, right? This wasn't finished when I got it. I got it off a guy on eBay.
Okay.
And so I contacted Mark Propst and I was like, dude, this is such a cool cover. What's the history behind this? He said, well, they went with George over mine, which I could totally understand. And I was like, can you finish this? Do you think you would want to do that? And he's like, yeah, go ahead, send it down. So I sent it down and he finished it for me. And, so it was started in the 90s and, finished in 2023. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's neat. Another ton of characters again.
Yeah. For whatever reason, they like doing that. Even George's take on this cover. There's all the same characters, but obviously in his style and a little different lineup formation. But it's cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's neat. Now I don't know if anybody notices, but so the close up on the right hand side that I posted, I feel like her face reminds me of early, like the mid 80s, early Todd McFarlane face.
Yeah, I've never noticed that.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's seeing what I'm seeing, but yeah, just on the right hand side, the girl the character that I've blown up on the right hand there. Yeah, to me it reminds me of the faces he would do back when he was doing like Infinity Inc. and stuff. But anyway, just a little point of interest there. But okay, excellent. And I wanted to say too, where are you? Maki Poo Poo. Show us some Tigress. It's coming. Relax, all right? We'll get to it. Stick around, all right? Stick around. Hart wants you to know. Great story about Mark finishing this.
Yeah. He, I don't even want to go into it, but it was quite the experience. I got the art. That's all that matters. And
okay, good. Let's not go there then. I have a feeling I know what you're talking about. It's just like that. Let's stay happy tonight.
Yeah. Let's be positive. I hate negativity, but I've only had one incident in my whole collecting career where it was awkward, and unfortunately it was it. But other than that, it was great. I liked it. It turned out, and that's what matters.
That's exactly. Let's leave it there. Sounds good. Okay. Let us check out the next one. And for that, we go to Tigress #1.
Yes, I like Paul Abrams. I like his paintings a lot, and then I just thought, what a cool cover. I like the Tigress, she's an Egyptian goddess, and she's kind of like a character that's like good and bad, right? She'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. So, and then of course it's got Flair on it, which is one of my favorite characters, and so it was just a win-win for me.
Yeah, I used to love Flair, and when Mark Beecham started drawing Flair.
Oh, dude, yeah, he knows. Yeah, his way around the female form, he definitely knows. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Cab, apologies. Have to check out now and catch the rest on show and rewind. Danny, a wonderful artwork and a wonderful collection. Many congratulations. Thanks again for a great show.
Thanks.
Thank you, Cab. Always appreciate you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the Mark Beecham stuff. I was like, wow, oh man, and it's that's when I definitely started to buy this hero graphics
Yeah.
books. You know, of course, I started having more money at that time. I was a little bit older, and then okay, with Mark Beecham's art. Yeah, I had to add it to the reserve list, as we used to call them.
Sure.
You know what they now call pull lists. It's not a pull list. Is not something I ever heard of until the internet. But we used to call them reserves. Do you have a reserve at this comic shop? That's what we used to call them. You know, when they would hold comics for you.
Yeah. They would. They just. I think at the place we were at, they just call it. We would get. Yeah, I don't know what they call it now, but they would do that service. You know, just pull your subscriptions for you, and then just. Yeah, I guess it would be pull, right? Yeah, that would make sense. So.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Everybody's saying bye-bye to Cab. Anything else? Nope, a lot of goodbyes. Okay. Excellent. So there you go, Maki Poo. You got yourself a Tigress. You know, you asked, you asked, and you received. You know, there you go. Look at the timing was perfect. It's almost like you knew what was coming up. I don't know about that.
Nice.
But you didn't. But speaking of Tigress, check it out, everyone. A rare interior page from Danny's collection tonight. Check this one out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a couple good reasons why I like this page.
A couple of good reasons.
Yeah,
I figured.
Yeah, I hope somebody appreciates that. Yeah, the layout of it, and it just, it kind of shows her and the Egyptian goddess, and yeah, I just thought it was really cool. You know.
Yeah. Do you know the name of the other one? A woman.
Oh, that's Lady Arcane.
Oh, Lady Arcane. Okay.
Yeah. She's like the her dad is like the Doctor Strange of that universe, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The equivalent, and so she's magical, and yeah, it's there's a lot of of course they sex sells, and and heroic publishing, depending on the year, it's Hero Comics.
Yeah.
Heroic graphics, now it's heroic publishing. So, they put a lot of that kind of, cheesecake type stuff in it, and imply it a lot, and, show it a lot. But the story is in the 80s and 90s. I enjoyed, I liked, when I was a kid, I was really into mythology, and I would read Greek mythology a lot. And so, there's a lot of tie-in that universe, especially with Flair, with the Greek mythology. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So Maki Poo, you're getting Tigress. All of a sudden, you had nothing to say. What's going on? All right. Cool. So let us get to now the next piece, which I believe is going to be another Tigress piece. Maki Poo, hello. Let's check this one. Yes, sir. Look at that one. That's a cool one.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, with the whole, she battles like the snake, god or demon, is kind of her arch enemy. So I guess they kind of represent it through that. And, this was a guy, this book in this issue was a guy who just wouldn't take no for an answer, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
he wound up paying the price, but
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool cover of Heart, absolutely. Maki Poo says, "I'm waiting for more Tigress." Well, what do you think we're doing? You asked for Tigress, you got Tigress. There you go. Yeah, it's really, really neat. And I almost feel like it's got the Charles Barnett inking on this piece. It's like I feel like it's like a Joe Sinnott style inking here.
Interesting. Yeah,
that's what I feel.
Yeah, and I really enjoy listening to things like that because again I've heard of artists. I don't know their when I hear something like that, it's really cool. You know what I mean? It encourages me to go look now and see. Right. I really dig that.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Glad. See, that's the thing. That's what I love about the show is we there's always people, whether it's me or whether it's my guest or whether it's everybody else in the chat, there's always knowledge being dropped as well. So we learn stuff, you know.
Yeah.
We can all learn stuff from each other. Everybody's always got something to teach somebody else. So it's really cool, you know.
Oh, dude, every episode, man. When I sold a bunch of things here recently, just to kind of downsize my collection a little bit, and kind of, my goal was at the time, I'm working on a book, right? Like 90s indie alternative art. And I was trying to get an example from each company. So I had like 30, 35 different, publishing. I'd get a piece of art, and it just started looking, too just, I don't know, unpolished. And so I thought, well, I really don't need to hold the physical art. As long as I have the comic books, the art's in there.
Right.
Well, I sold probably like close to 70 pieces here recently. And I remember you guys talking about selling, about going, because I thought about going to auction house, and you're like, oh, just try selling it on CAF. And I was like, darn, and it worked.
Yeah.
I sold a lot of stuff. And then, of course, I traded Anthony a lot of stuff. And then he bought some stuff that I had as well. So I came out on top. So I was pretty happy. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Glad to hear that. That's awesome. See, that's what I'm saying. We can all learn from each other. There's always something to be gleaned from this, So I'm happy.
Sure.
Yeah.
If I would have put it in the auction, I probably wouldn't have got near as much trying to piece it out, because I was like your guys' suggestion, and I thought, man, I'll try it.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
I'm glad you tried it and it worked out. That's awesome. I mean, very cool. By the way, Carl from Carl's Collection, everybody on here on YouTube. As if you didn't know. Carl says, this is stuff I have zero knowledge of, but definitely cool to see.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. So that's what I said at the beginning, right? That's what I hope. Tune in anyways. You might like something that you when you're exposed to something you normally wouldn't look at, right?
Yeah.
And CJ reminds us that there's no pop quizzes later either. So that's the good thing too,
Right.
Very cool. All right, let us continue along here. And the next piece in the show and tell tonight is this old piece. I believe it's from the old comic shop news. Tell us a bit about this, because I know nothing about this. It didn't look familiar to me. This is one of the ones I was like, I don't remember seeing this. So let us know about this.
Yeah, well, like the comic shop news. It was actually published also as an ad.
Right.
The whole schism, it's a.
So what schism was what? Like it wasn't a title. It was like some storyline.
Yeah, it was a storyline. It was supposed to be a crossover of all the Defiant characters, and the guy that I got this from, I can't even remember his name now, but he owned a comic shop in Chicago for a long time. Became friends with Jim Shooter, and he bought a lot of Valiant and Defiant stuff from him. And he was telling me about this cover, and again, I'm unsure of the artist, because he said, oh, the artist signed it, but like you pointed out to me, where it's listed on the cover itself, it looks a little bit different, right?
Yeah, I think it looked like Aslan or Astan or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. And so I'm just gonna have to, if hopefully one day I can meet Jim Shooter and just ask him outright what's the history on this piece. But I love War Dancer, because at one time I was buying only Native American themed art, and so like War Dancer kind of drew me in a little bit, and I liked the character, I liked the books. I reached out and I contacted Alan Weiss, right? And man, which he is so cool. Alan is, he's so funny and a great artist, and he showed me all kinds of cool stuff. And they're trying to I think they're going to try to start some kind of Kickstarter. This group is, and get this, all this schism, storyline published. But I just thought it was so cool. It had all the, the Dark Dominion guy. It has Charlemagne, and it has, War Dancer, who was my favorite out of that Defiant universe. So I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so who did you get this one from?
I got it from the guy in Chicago who had
in Chicago.
Yeah. So he had quite a bit of Defiant artwork, actually, but
Do you know, Larry's asking, do you know who owns the rights to Defiant now?
It's the artist. Each artist has like Alan Weiss owns the rights to War Dancer.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah, and
everybody's got their.
yeah, it's kind of like artist owned rights. You know what I mean? I know Jim Shooter has some characters, but yeah, I became friends with a lot of the people in that. You know, that Defiant, a lot of the colorists, which we'll touch on later. But yeah, it was neat. You know, it was short run. You know, they had to fight. Marvel sued them, obviously, and they won the case, but it bankrupted them ultimately, and they had to shut Defiant down. You know.
Yeah. Well, speaking of War Dancer, because I know nothing of him.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this one.
Yeah, this is a painting Joe James did while he was working at Defiant. It was just kind of like what's that term they call when they draw something but they don't use it yet, like a
prelim?
No, like they put it in the reserves, you know, like maybe we'll use this later on.
What do you call it? Like what they used to do with Marvel Fanfare. It's like inventory stories.
Yeah, inventory. Yeah, like an inventory cover. Yes, that's it. Yeah. So he's like, this could have been. They did it. I painted it. They loved it. They thought it was going to be a cover, inventory. You know, it was just something pin up. And how I got to, and again, Joe James, another guy. Like I've been really big into reaching out to artists and talking with them. Joe James was really cool. You know, I talked to him. He did actually. Matter of fact, we really bonded because he did martial arts when he was younger, so it was kind of something we could talk about. But David Hillman actually helped me to get in contact with Joe James, and he had shown me the art that he had, and he had some other Defiant stuff, but I was just really into War Dancer more than anything. So he you know, that basically just sat for all those years, and I was so happy to have it. It's really cool. You know, I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really neat. And that I'm assuming was part of, I mean, the acquisition of it was part of the fact that you were really into Indigenous American characters. I'm supposed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like the way Alan Weiss described it to me, that, you know, War Dancer has kind of like a Cheyenne Indian style haircut, but he calls him like a time traveling Mayan character. You know what I mean? So he told me like the whole creative process behind it, and it was really, you know, it was like I was surprised, you know, because like I had really never heard an artist really tell me their creative process before, and he was referencing like these, you know, the dance that he does, and like this, it comes from this culture, and it was just like it blew my mind. Actually, I'm like, damn, people put a lot of research into these characters, or at least he did into this one, and I was just loving it, man. It was just really cool, you know?
Yeah.
So you get into that process, I thought was really nice.
Yeah. No, it's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Weiss, I mean, I just wanted to mention, gosh, in the 80s, he didn't do many, but boy, when he would occasionally do covers, his 80s Marvel covers were like things to like just the works of art. Like, oh God, they were so, oh my gosh. And it's like now, when, you know, not just now, but like throughout the last, whatever, 25, whatever years, they don't come out often. And when they do, they sell for like good money too.
Oh,
Regardless of the title, just because there's not many, and his stuff was so beautiful back then, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's and just the stories, stories of like him interacting with different artists and hanging out. And it was worth the investment. And my, you know, listening to him, you know what I mean? It was just really cool. So.
Lee Parmenter's got to go walk the dogs. Good night, Ruben and Danny. Nice collection, Danny.
All right, thanks, brother.
See you later, Lee. Weiss is more 70s. I mean, for interiors, and again, not that he still didn't do many, but he was doing more interiors in the 70s. But the 80s was when he was doing, like, he would just do random covers. Like, he'd do a few Defenders covers here and a few other, you know, whatever, just random titles here and there. God, they were just gorgeous.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. He did this thing. He was like, oh, you like Native American characters? He's like, I forget what issue of Marvel Fanfare, but he did a story called Strange on the Range, where Dr. Strange was in the Wild West. And
okay. I must have seen it. I just don't remember it off.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it's small story in the back of Marvel Fanfare.
Story, yeah.
Everybody should check it out, though. It's really cool, man. I was like, wow. It's kind of like has him having guns, and he's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Alan Weiss actually. It's funny that you mentioned with gunslingers, because I think he ended up doing a title at some point. I don't know if it was late 80s or into the 90s that had to do with like guns, Western, and he wasn't he the one who did that title Steel Grip Starkey in the 80s?
Man, I'm not sure.
Somebody will probably remember that. But yeah, he did some kind of a Western thing, something with guns or whatever. I don't know. So maybe he's got some fascination with that.
No, he definitely does, because he had showed me some stuff that he didn't publish, and it was a majority of it was Western based. So I would definitely think that he was into drawing Western.
Marcus says El Diablo. That's not what I remember, but if you remember that, Marcus, I'll take your word for it. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Very cool. All right. Let us move on to the next piece, everybody. And for that, we are hitting, I think, 1994 at this point, and that is
Charlemagne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is color art, but the reason why I've shown this is because David Hillman, I reached out to him. He was a colorist or a painter, for Defiant. Super nice guy. He had a bunch of, like color art, and I purchased it from him, and I just love he painted it. Of course, I think a lot of times a colorist doesn't get maybe as much credit as they deserve,
Right.
And at that time I was calling things like this color guides. But then, JJ Jackson, Janet Jackson, the colorist, not the singer, but she educated me and said, you know what? These aren't color guides. This is a color art, because this is the finished product. There's for whatever process. And she said, people painted this. This is painted, and it takes skill to, even if it's there's a drawing, you have to fill that drawing in and paint it. Yeah. And I just think it takes a lot of talent to be a colorist, for sure.
Oh, for sure. You can't. You can't. Yeah. You can't just fill it in with whatever, right?
No. I mean, there's no way I could paint anything remotely like that. But even though it is color art, and it's not the original per se, David Hillman really introduced me to a lot of the artists from Defiant. He was the guy who really opened the door for me, and reaching out to like Joe James and J.G. Jones and all these other people that I've talked to. So I definitely want to represent him because I appreciate him.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, just to clear it up. So on this piece, is it the colors as well as the line art that's original, or is there only the colors that's original?
Just the colors.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And I just did this to kind of, because he was just the painter or the colors. Yeah, I did this just to to represent him. And for sure. And I like the Charlemagne. It's actually a pretty decent book. I like it because he ties in with War Dancer a lot. They're kind of frenemies, so it's a good. It fits in.
That's cool. Carl. Marcus. Steel Grip Starkey was epic. But see, Epic was just an imprint of Marvel. So I always
really just Marvel. Yeah.
That's why I always say Marvel.
Yeah.
Just like ElfQuest ended up getting printed through the Epic line, but I still think of it as it's a Marvel thing, not a DC thing.
Sure. I think Epic was just like a little bit more like, the artists had
creator. It was tied into creator-owned people who want to do creator-owned stuff at Marvel or work for Marvel, but still retain the rights to their work.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. It was along those lines, and they put out some good stuff. There's a lot of good Epic.
Oh, sure, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So this next piece, though, really dig this one. It never got published, but check it out. Mike Grell, everybody, look at this.
Yeah, to me, this was like a grail, because here I got Of course, this was in the prime of me collecting, Native American art.
Yeah.
I love Turok, and Shaman's here was I like the art, but I didn't really care for the book as much as Turok. But here we go. There's a crossover, and if I love crossovers, I'm going to be honest. I have a weakness for crossovers. As a matter of fact, one of the I go back to my first collection. I had a page from Hawk and Batman when they did that crossover. From that original series I had. Yeah. And I thought it was I didn't even like the Hawk, and I really didn't collect Batman, but I knew it was a crossover. And I bought it because I just thought, how cool is it to have a Marvel and DC joint effort? It was just amazing.
Yeah. By the way, is this the same thing as Charlemagne? Is this just the colors that are original?
Yeah, this is just the colors. Okay. There's a couple guys who own the originals. I haven't found the guy who owns the original to this one yet. Okay. But the book was drawn out. It just wasn't published.
Oh,
and, so this is the only piece that I could. These other guys didn't want to budge on it, okay. And they were offended. I was even asking them.
Offended?
Yeah, I mean they were like, "Not for sale" means not for sale.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry. They thought I'd take a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It happens, Our friend Caesar says, Danny posted a black and white DC preview to The Butcher. I thought it was the original art. I was excited and jealous at the same time.
Oh yeah, I mean that's another one that I'm trying. What's his name? Shay Anton Pensa. I've been trying to find anything from The Butcher from him. It's just really I don't know. I don't know if he just kept all the art or what, but I got this. It was photocopied, but I just thought it was so cool. I had to show someone. I bought it. It was like they were sending it out to fans and going, "Hey, here's a preview of what The Butcher #1 looks like." People who were commenting in the back of like the DC editorials, and they said, "Hey, you know what? If you like The Butcher so much, comment." And when a person commented, they sent them this Xerox copy of all the art, and it was stapled together. And I thought, how cool! This is probably the closest I'm going to come. So I put it on there, but because I just thought it was so neat, Yeah.
Oh, it's very cool. Oh, and just in case anybody's wondering, where you see me crediting Nobro for colors, that was just the nom de plume, as they say, for the group of many individuals that worked there at the time, and were tasked with coloring some of the jobs they needed to get colored, and that's what they used that name when multiple people would work on the same piece. And so there's too many people to credit, and then they don't keep track of it, and then they don't know who to credit. So yeah, it's all of us. It can be any of us in this group. Nah, bro.
Well, thank you for clarifying, because I tried to do like an internet search, and I was like, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, is it a person? Is it?
Okay.
I was like, is it a group? Because I'm like you. I'm thinking, I was like, I wasn't 100% sure, but thank you. What did Caesar say? He has the cover 3 to Unpublished. To what?
So let me go and put that back up. So he says, I have the cover to number 3 of the number 3 of an unpublished cover to an unpublished series. But why don't you tell us what series it is, Caesar?
Yeah. You got me excited. I thought it was that.
Yeah, at first I thought, oh, you mean this one?
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But okay, let us move on and go to the next piece, everybody. And for that, we go to the 15th piece tonight, and it is, oh my God, is he around? I don't know. Yeah, we haven't heard from him in the last couple of hours. Oh, well, he's going to miss out. Joe Martino and Jeff Austin, the Shadowflame #1 cover. Yeah, it's really cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, during my research of 90s, comic companies, I seen, JGM, and I'm like, what is JGM? So I always go down a rabbit hole with every company that I'm researching. I try to reach out to the editors, artists. I'm just trying to see how much survive. What can I get? And I saw, Joe's name, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'll reach out. And I saw Shadowflame, and I thought, what a cool looking character, right? I just something I thought it was amazing. And oh, there he is. And
there
so
he is.
I reached out to him, and he's what a cool guy. But before I reached out to him, I looked him up, and then his YouTube channel came up, and he's a cancer survivor, and he talks about his history on this video. And I ain't gonna lie, man, I was like crying. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa, this.
I by the way, I did watch that video. So
you did? Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, very touching.
I'm like, what a cool dude, man. And so like he created all kinds of characters. Obviously Shadowflame. He did the Mighty Titan, Ripperman. He actually that JGM was his imprint in the later 90s. Of course, I was out of comic collecting at that time, so I didn't really get to see it on the stands or anything. But I just thought, wow. So reached out to him. We started talking. He's like our age, right? He's 53, and we started talking about the 80s, and you talk about obviously his process, and he published Red Anvil Comics. He worked, he did work. He put out some stuff with Image. The other day he was like, hey, look what I found in my folder here in my portfolio. And he had it was like 20 years ago in the Invincible series, right? Which is pretty popular, right? Invincible. Now especially they got that cartoon on our animated series on Prime. But he's like, look at this pinup I did. And I was like, dude, that's amazing, man. Somebody would love to have this. You know what I mean? If somebody was really into Invincible, it's 20 years old. It just, I don't know. It just was so cool. He's also done like fantasy books. He wrote books. The guy's he's done a lot, and he's friends with a lot of, he had John Byrne do one of the covers for, his series. And
he says, my claim to fame.
Yeah, nice. And, he did, Bob Layton did one of the covers, and, so he's been around, and he knows some people, and I think he's a fantastic artist. You know?
Man. And he's had some success as one of the many people who have grinded trying to make it in this industry, which is not an easy industry to make it in.
I couldn't even imagine what it takes to go against, Marvel and DC and try to, it's just, it takes a lot of determination,
Hey, listen, I believe 2-time cancer survivor, you gotta have like some motherfucking determination in you.
Dude, I'm saying,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. We just connected over, just emailing and discuss. I mean, just a great guy, man. Just, he's actually going to do a commission for me here pretty soon. And I have an unfinished, I was like, I've been waiting for the right person to ask to do. I have an unfinished Southern Nights page that didn't get done. And it was like a character study guide thing. And I asked him, I'm like, dude, would you be interested? He's like, yeah, man, I would love to. I was like, oh, thank God. I got somebody who's a really great artist. He's going to do it for me. And he's like, he knows I like crossovers. And I was like, let's do Shadowflame and War Dancer and Electrode from Southern Nights. Flying over the arch in St. Louis. He's like, I can do that. Yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm like, all right, bro. I'm like, he's just like such a great guy, man.
That's cool. Very good. Well, there you go, Joe. You're getting pumped up like crazy tonight. So
yeah. Anybody wants commission work? Talk to Joe, man. He's taking them.
Cool.
I don't get a dime for saying that. So
all right. So now I believe this next piece is the only piece tonight, everyone, that has a little bit of a mainstream connection. And a connection to Joe, if I remember correctly in your description, in your gallery, Danny. Let's check it out.
Yeah, Joe had this commissioned, and I just thought, wow, how awesome, right? He had so many different, like he had shown me, pictures of his portfolio. He had, he had like Hembeck do a piece for him, and he had different artists, draw their interpretations of, Shadowflame, and in this case here, Maldestrak, you know, like the top villain in this universe, right? And I thought it was so cool, man. I'm like, look how cool is this? Is, you know, he pretty much kicked everybody's ass, and it looks just amazing. And of course, Anthony's artwork is just incredible, you know.
Yeah.
So
I love that. I love to see. I love to see what is essentially for most people an unknown villain kicking the crap out of all the most powerful, well-known villains of all time, right? Like
yeah.
Darkseid and Galactus, and you know, yeah, it's so cool, man. Yeah, it looks awesome. A lot of people are saying some of these things about it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the characters that Joe created. I mean, this is, you know,
yeah. Maldestrak. So that's Joe himself. Who, as he says here, that's my character beating down the cosmic villain. So
hell yeah.
Of course, we know why you got this as the idea that you had Anthony do for you, Joe. So that's cool, man.
Yeah. It's a great piece, man. Great stuff.
Very cool. The only question is, that's your character beating down the Marvel villains, Joe. Why and how? How can you let that go? How can you let that go? But whatever, you know, just putting it out there.
Yeah. You know, I think I don't know. I always thought that too, but you know, I guess artist is. Oh, we said the name correctly. Thank goodness, because I've been known to butcher names all the time.
You both said his name correctly. Yay. Yeah.
But maybe he he didn't draw it, so maybe it's just, you know, easier for, you know.
Yeah.
And you know how it is when you see somebody who's excited about the artwork that you have. I've sold to many people who were just really excited. They were like, I really didn't have an intention to sell, you know. And then I was like, they were so excited. I was like, dude, you love this, man. You know, whatever.
You can feel the genuine sort of excitement and like love for it. Like, suddenly you feel like, hey, I think I'd be even happier if you owned it. Okay, here, let me.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I mean, Joe let me buy a lot of his stuff and his JGM stuff, and you know, wish I could have put it all up, and then, you know, the newer stuff. And man, the guy's so nice. He like, you know, like he sent me like prints of you know, because this is some of his work too. You know,
cool.
These prints. Wow. He's done some Marvel and Batman, and he sent me all kinds of cool, you know, stuff with it. Just a great guy, man. Another one of the artist guys that I really enjoy talking with and interacting with.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Right. So now we jump several years ahead in the timeline, and we get to much more recent contemporary days. I believe this is maybe 2016 or 18, I think 16. And we begin a run of pieces by the gentleman who I mentioned at the top of the show, who had subscribed to my channel and whose work we were going to see a few pieces from tonight. But I don't think he's here.
Probably the time difference. I'm not sure what it is.
That's true.
Right now, you know,
I figured he was living in Italy, right? So
yeah. He's from Milan.
So no worries. But yeah, let's check out the first piece from.
It's 5 o'clock.
Ulderico Fioretti. There we go.
Yeah.
Liberty Girl number 6 cover.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first pencil piece that I bought recently. I just looked at this again, you know, trying to get, I was trying to get, you know, like one cover from every title that Hero put out, right? Just was kind of a goal. And so this is another guy, right? I reached out to him, and such a nice guy, you know, and I've got a lot of connections in Italy. You know, I've got a lot of teachers that live in Italy, a lot of friends that live in Italy. So I just thought how beautiful, right? The hair flowing and the clouds, and it was just, his pencil work is really awesome. So I thought, man, he was super nice. He was, you know, he's done a lot of work, you know. Ulderico, he had besides doing comics, he's done publishing for all kinds of things. He even worked for this clothing company called Scorpion Bay, where he did like advertising for them. And he did film posters, right? He did he did a couple posters that won like the European Cinema Award for Best Poster, and even the New York City Cinema Award for Best Posters. So very talented artist. You know, and he's done some comic books over in Europe primarily. But this was, you know, this is how my introduction with him was through Heroic Publishing. I just found him on Facebook and reached out and was like, dude, you know, I love your stuff. You know, he's like, well, I never really sold before, but
wow,
if you like it, maybe we can work something out. And I was like, well, yeah, I love it. You know, what do you? And so, you know, 6 covers later, here I am. So,
and we're showing 4 of them tonight. So check it out. Speaking of, not long ago on one of my episodes that you may recall, we spoke about boobage. And this next one might be a decent example of the side boobage.
yeah. I thought you guys would enjoy this. Again, it was, you know, besides the obvious reasons that it's pretty cool, just the detail work, just, you know, like the snake and the leaves. And I'm just like, man, how long did it take this dude to do this? It's so awesome. You know, I really never really appreciated pencil work until recently. When I was collecting in the early 90s, I wouldn't buy anything pencil. The only pencil thing I had was a sketch of Swamp Thing and Man Thing done by, how do you say his, Mike Plug? How do you say his name?
Plug.
Okay. So I had a sketch that he did that he drew both characters on that was pencil.
Okay.
And I didn't even know it was pencil. I just saw that the characters, to be honest, I didn't really know who he was at the time as an artist.
Okay.
I got it and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's pencil. You know what I mean? I was like, I was so disappointed. But now I feel like a total idiot that I didn't realize what I had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, I saw his pencil work and I'm like, dude, this is sick, you know?
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it.
That's funny. Joe is saying, awesome work. The colors destroyed it. Too heavy-handed. Well, Joe, I will just have you know that here on my channel, we often have spoken and gone off on tangents, making comments about the coloring in comic books in general. And most of us are very not that big fans of it. But so, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. Most people agree. I mean, that's just how it goes. But Carl says the same thing. Agreed. So much lost in those colors, you know. But yeah, what to do. It's par for the course in comics, and it has been honestly since the advent of computers. It's like the computers offer so much choice, right? Like thousands and thousands of colors and color combinations that colorists can't seem to. They don't have the time, it seems, to learn and test out and practice with all the options that their software allows them. And they just kind of get carried away with it. I that's what it feels like to me. You know, they can never master
that. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's why I just feel like that. It is what it is, and it's why we love original art. That is true. That's true. Yeah. I love it because I don't have to see the color. I can see the line art without distraction. We have a new person here tonight. Is this somebody that you may know, Danny? It is someone by the name of Sellers Necked, I want to say.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Sellers, let us know who you are. What brought you here tonight? That's very interesting. I always love getting new people coming in, but most of the new ones tonight were because of you, Danny. So I don't know. Sellers, and let me know if Necked is how you say the last name. Of course, I'm not even really believing that that's a real name, but you never know these days.
That's true.
Oh, and here we have another new one. What's going on? Okay, check this out. Then we have architectural foam panels and columns.
Nice.
Saying, right, we need freedom from choice, not freedom of choice. Okay.
Yeah, funny.
But where are all these people coming from? Wow, it's wild. Look at Marcus is like, what?
Nice.
Open that can of spam, says CJ. And Joe's like, huh?
Yeah, right, getting lost, right?
Yeah. Architectural foam panels and columns. Are you a colorist? Do you feel like you were insulted by what I was saying? I don't know. Let us know. Sellers has spoken up. Just curious about comic book original art. Wow.
We came to the right place then, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I appreciate it. But let me know how you found the channel. I'm just curious because I don't know. Like my subscribers have been growing super slowly, but also that's partly, in big part, because I ask people not to subscribe unless they like what they saw and intend to come back. I only want my subscribers to be viewers, you know?
Yeah.
Unlike most channels on YouTube, which is like, you know, the viewers are actually just a tiny fraction of the subscribers, because everybody hits subscribe, but then they never come back to that channel and watch anything, you know?
Yeah, that does happen a lot.
So, yeah. But I'm doing the opposite. So I just found out, curiously enough, I just was looking at my data, the data that YouTube provides and the analytics, and they told me that in the last year, 79.8% of all the viewed hours, so all the time total by everybody that has watched my content, were subscribers. So just under 80%.
Wow.
And it's like, wow. I mean, that's what I always wanted. That's what I've been trying to do, you know? So I'm super, super stoked to know that most of the people that watch my stuff are the people that subscribe. You know, I love that. So so that's nice. And yeah, see, that's what I was saying, Joe. Maybe he's a colorist, but he came back and said, or he or she, no, in total agreement. Okay, limitations foster creativity. Thank you for clarifying. We appreciate that. Appreciate that. Sellers next. Again, I don't know if I'm saying it right. I just search comic books and live periodically. Wow, and my thing came up. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate it, man. That's awesome. I do all kinds of shows, Sellers, just so you know. This series, the show and tell series, is the one I do most episodes of, because you know art collectors like to look at art. But if you look around in the other playlists I have on my playlist tab at the top, you'll see the other series I have. A lot of it is just talk shows called Hangout. We all just hang out and talk about all sorts of topics, you know. Yeah. So I appreciate you dropping by, man. And yes, those of us who are here are collectors of original pages. That's right.
Yeah.
And so for this show, what I do is I bring in a collector of comic book original art, and we show 20 pieces roughly of their collection, and they talk about it, and we all get to look at it and hear the stories about it. So yeah, that's what it's all about. No limitations on the length of Ruben's shows. That's true. That's true. You will know that they average 3 hours, but yeah, sometimes go over that. But we're almost finished this one, everybody. Not to fear. And that's exactly how architectural foam panels and columns ended up here, by just doing
cool, man. Nice.
comics and live. Wow, that's wild. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I'm assuming you're guys, because most people in the hobby are guys, but thanks, people. Appreciate it. Cool. Yeah, very cool. So, okay, excellent. Let us get to the last couple of pieces, everyone. And then after that, I'll show you one last picture. So second to last piece of art is this one. This one is really cool. I love this one. The sensational G-Girl.
Yeah. I just thought how cool, you know.
It's got a cool look to it, right? Like it's
it's you know the detail in the bark, and just I don't know. I thought it was really cool. You know, not that I'm a big fan of the modern titles. I just like the look of it. I thought, well, how cool, you know. It just was pretty cool.
You know, it's funny. I would think I would normally catch this, and I didn't catch it. But now that Marcus mentions it, I am catching it. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. I didn't notice till just now.
Okay, yeah, me too, man.
What a good eye, man. That's impressive.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
G-Girl hits the spot.
Oh, I knew there was going to be some comments. That's
Of course there was going to be. How could you not? Plastic Man is moonlighting in a porno.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God. Joe says it's Moose Knuckle. Oh my gosh. Marcus is claiming that we're lying because it's right in the middle. Well, what can I say? I literally,
Oh,
I believe Danny, and I literally did not notice until you said it.
no, I don't know.
Stretch Armstrong. Hey, I had a Stretch Armstrong doll when I was a kid, Larry.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that thing. And then eventually it stretched it too much, and all the red jelly came out of it.
Oh wow.
So funny. But yeah, just a lot of fun this cover. It's one of my favorites tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because I like fun stuff, and it represents fun to me. I like seeing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I did want to catch. Oh yeah, Sellers for confirming. Thank you for confirming that you are a male. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great.
Not that I don't love the females to come in, but we usually only have 2 or sometimes 3 females, as you guys know. Not many that are in the hobby in general. Let alone then when you talk about the people who are socializing online like this, it drops even more, even further, right? So
Right.
the ratio is really down to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you for dropping in and checking it out. Architectural says anatomically correct. And Mickey, thank you, Mickey. So you're saying what I should have said.
Oh,
Of course, Marcus would spot it. Of course, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. All right, everybody, let us get to this last piece in tonight's show and tell. And for that, it's of course, we're going in order by year from oldest to newest. So it is the most contemporary one for tonight. And it is the Black Enchantress. I love that name.
Yeah. I thought.
But Daddy, except for the fact that she doesn't seem like she's black.
Yeah, that's true. This is another one. I thought, how cool it's, he did such a great job on this one. And it was kind of like a variant cover,
Oh yeah.
But I thought, how cool, man. I just really dig it. It's, and the character, I mean, they kind of modernized her a little bit. And I tell you, Mark Beecham does some covers with Black Enchantress, and they you have to check those covers out if you thought the Sensational G Girl was something. But yeah, this is way conservative compared to those covers. But yeah, I just really liked it. The character's pretty neat, and yeah, I just like the way it was drawn. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is deep and powerful, says CJ.
Yeah.
Black costume, says Larry. And Jewish Dragon says, gotta run, but Danny, so nice to see your terrific collection. Love that you were preserving this indie art, and I fear this important history would be lost to time if not for collectors like you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's awesome, Jewish Dragons. Have a great night, man. And thanks again for dropping by.
Yeah.
And Hart says, outstanding image.
Oh, yeah, it's really cool. Ulderico does some great work, I just really like his stuff. He's got a couple other things I'd like to get in time, but it's he does some painting too. His painting's really awesome, so hopefully I'll get an example of that soon. But yeah,
it's really cool. And I wouldn't be me if I hadn't done this, everybody. But for those of you checking out the wall behind Danny, I thought maybe you'd appreciate if I showed you this.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's one
wall of art, baby.
Yeah, I've always wanted something like that. I just thought, well, I wonder how this is going to look, and then I measured it, and it came out right, and I spaced it, and I was like, because I do everything myself. I do the mats myself. I do the framing, I keep it low cost. And of course I try to use the best stuff that I can afford, to keep it, museum quality or safe, but I thought cool, and I'm trying to do that to every wall that I have. You know,
that's awesome, man.
yeah, it's a small room. It wasn't my daughter's, and then or my son's, and then when he went away to college, I got two boys and one girl, and so we got as they started leaving the house because they're all in their 20s. I started taking up more space. My wife was like, just take the room and put all your comics and your toys in there. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to argue. I'll take over this room.
Yeah. Amaki Poo says, wow. Hart says, nice, Danny.
Thanks.
And CJ says, that's great, Danny. So yeah, I mean, it's fantastic, honestly. And you must be like, it must eat at you when you're like, man, if only that vent wasn't there.
Oh, dude, you can't. I was like, I was like, I'm going to contact someone about rerouting this air vent. I talked to people like, well, we could do it, but we're going to have to get into that wall, and then we're going to have to. I was like, fuck, that's just too much money. Then I thought, what I'm going to do? I'm going to pay somebody to draw a mural right there or something. You know what I mean? Just to make it blend. So I don't know. But it's the biggest wall. The other walls are small. They just have like I have 6 over here, 3 over here. I'm going to put 8 on this wall. So eventually it's going to get just filled up, and
yeah.
I've been through so many different phases.
Larry's awarding you a trophy.
Oh, well,
he says, vent is art.
There you go. I could look at it that way, right? Yeah.
And CJ suggesting that you just put an empty frame.
There you go.
And Larry's saying paint the vent black.
I'm going to do that. That's a good idea. I thought that, and now I'm definitely going to do it.
And JC says he loves how every frame looks so level.
Well, I'm very, I am kind of OCD on things.
OCD with the detail and yeah.
I don't know if it's the years of being in martial arts. I try to be very detail orientated, and so when I look at things, it's got to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Excellent. Well, look, that is the end of the art tonight. But Danny, is there anything that you would want to tell anybody or promote in terms of the martial arts?
It's something I've done. I've like I said, I'm 53. I got started in martial arts with my grandfather when I was 5. It's something I didn't enjoy doing at that time. But he was a World War II vet, and he was a retired detective. He was a homicide detective, and
wow.
Yeah, and he retired in the Vice Squad because he saw so many horrible things that he couldn't take it anymore. But so I had a very strict, of course, he was a military man, and so a very strict upbringing. And he made me, box and do judo and things like that. And so it just became my life then after that point, and I do research a lot of things that aren't mainstream, and that kind of reflects in my art too. I do like research on different countries or Native American traditions. And, I have friends in South America that I research, warrior traditions. In Argentina, there's a lot of stuff believe it or not, in Italy, there's a lot of martial arts that are indigenous to Italy. And, so I do a lot of cultural research, that's kind of what in other circles I'm kind of known for, but, thanks. But I would just, if anybody has any questions or anybody else does any martial art training, it's let me know. I'm interested.
Joe, thank you very much. Thanks,
brother. Thanks for coming by.
Son as well. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us all night long, man.
Yeah.
For your first time, it's I know it's got to feel like a lot for you, but for us, we're used to it. Well, not Danny, but the rest of us, we're used to it. It's always 3 hours or 3 hours plus. And I don't know. I got to say, personally, it never feels that long because everybody
it flies by. It's like I can't even believe it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's so fun,
That's what I'm saying. It's just everybody's so nice and we all have a good time together. And it's like, when you have good conversation with friends, right? The time will fly, right? So
exactly. That's that shows it's working. It's fun,
so that's awesome. So thank you, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, thanks again, CJ. Appreciate it. And yeah, CJ really appreciates you. That's awesome. Let me throw this back up there again. What the heck? Really love learning about an area of comics I knew very little about. So that's what I wanted to put out there.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's my whole thing, you know. Larry as well. Thank you, Danny.
Welcome. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, and Hart, great show, Danny and Ruben.
Yeah, I enjoy your shows too. Like that I was watching your art shows, you know, the selling, man. I was so tempted. I was like, that Femforce stuff was speaking to me. I was like,
oh yeah, the Femforce.
yeah, I was like, I like Femforce actually a lot, but
yeah.
So I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, everybody. Danny, don't hang up if you don't mind. Just stay with me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I just want to let you guys all know that next week I'm doing another show and tell. It is with our friend, longtime collector, known for Captain America loving, Alberto Gonzalez. And he's been on my show a couple of times and will be on next week for his first show and tell. So I'm looking forward to that. Yes, you will be seeing a lot of Captain America art. There's kind of no way around it since that's what he's primarily collecting. Marcus is busting my balls here. I'm gonna have to at least let me pick one here. Let me see. What do you think of the Karate Kid franchise, Danny? Quick answer.
Yeah, I mean, I like the original movie. Yeah. Everything else besides that is
okay. I'm with you there, basically.
Yeah.
Oh God. Do you think I should take classes in martial arts? What are you doing?
I think it's good for everyone. You know, exactly. Fun. You know, it's not just about beating people up. It's about fun, man.
Exactly. Yeah. I would have done it, and actually, a few years back, I was gonna see if I could join a gym to do like submission grappling, MMA. You know, yeah. Because I'm a big MMA fan, right? The problem is I had spent so many years not doing any physical activity.
Yeah.
I gained a bunch of weight. My body was just breaking down on me. And just the simplest little trying to like warm up before I go and roll with anyone.
Sure.
I was like hurt. I was, oh wow. I'm like, what's happening? Like just trying to like, you know, stretch my shoulders out and whatever. And I'm like, literally, I haven't even started anything yet. Just trying to stretch myself. I'm like, okay, I spent so long not doing anything physical. And I used to be very athletic when I was young.
Yeah.
But I spent decades doing nothing. And now my body just broke down on me. And now I've got like herniated discs in my back. I can't do any kind of like martial art type stuff because I'm just, I'm going to be in trouble. Like at the slightest little thing I try, it's going to, and I can't afford to be like out of commission in a hospital or in a
No, man, no. I totally understand that. You got to listen to your body. I mean, of course, the stuff that I was doing in my 20s, I'm not doing, you know, because I've done a little MMA. I boxed in the Golden Gloves. I've done.
Oh, did you? Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And I've had like 3 fights. You know, I've done submission grappling.
Cool. Yeah. Three amateur fights.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you know, I've done that route in my 20s. I wouldn't do it now. You know, 53. I mean, I don't like getting punched in the face.
It's funny that you say that because I swear to God, I was just going to ask you, what is that experience like of getting punched in the face, especially like the nose?
Oh, well, I've had my nose broke several times. So, I mean,
not surprised.
Yeah, it sucks. It is. I've been knocked out many times. I've been choked out many times. It's not. Oh,
you've even gotten choked out.
Oh yeah, my teacher beat the shit out of me. Yeah, when you're younger, it's fun. You know, I got choked out. You know, my teacher was a world champion, and he was this guy named Bart Vale. I don't know if you'd ever remember him from the 90s.
Who?
Bart Vale. He fought. It's back before UFC. It's in the early days of UFC, and there was a lot of like other groups that were doing this. These fights and
like smaller promotions, you mean?
Yeah, smaller promotions. Oh, okay. And he had fought over in Japan. He was really popular in Japan. And big dude, man. I mean, big dude. And he was the first person I ever sparred where I was scared. I thought he was gonna kill me. And he choked me out, hit me. And at that time, I was like, oh, I got choked out by the world champion. But now it's like, oh, that sucks. I don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
I'm going to get punched in the face. Too much dental work. Bridges, teeth knocked out. I'm like, I can't do that anymore, bro.
For sure. Just FYI, JC, always a regular attendee here at the live shows as well. Says nice collection, unexpected work. So thanks for sharing.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. All right, man. So yes, like I said, don't hang up. But I just want to say thank you again for the final time.
Yeah.
Actually, I just remember, not the final time, because once we get off the air, I'll privately thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, no, thanks for agreeing to do this. It was really cool of you. It was a lot of fun, man. I was looking forward to it, and I have to say, listen, not to pat myself on the back, but I really had a great time. So
I did too, man. I was, like I said in the beginning, I was so nervous at first. I was like, shit, I was more nervous about this than going into any of my fights that I've had. So I was like, you're gonna be fine. It's just talking. You don't have to like throw anybody down. I'm like, I know, but it's but I had a great time. It was so I would encourage everyone, if you haven't done it, think about doing it. If you gotta,
Thank you. Yes, please, people, reach out to me. Don't be shy. Doesn't matter what your collection is about, what you think of it, and what you think that, if you're shy, you think like, nobody likes what I collect.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people will think about what Danny collects. Like, so whatever, like, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
So, and I'm the channel owner. So if it doesn't matter to me and I'm willing to give your collection a bit of a shine and spotlight, then you shouldn't be shy to do it. So please reach out if you'd like to do that. Would really appreciate it, and I'm sure you would be happy you did it after you do it. Larry, you're shy. Yeah, I get it. Whatever. There's a lot of people shy. Listen, Marcus doesn't want to come on. Rick, who was here at the beginning and had to go tonight, he refuses to come on. A lot of my closest friends refuse to come on. Actually, that's the fact of the matter.
I'm so surprised by that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Whatever. He has his fans. I'll show it. You let me know, Larry.
I like his artwork. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, Larry, too, don't forget what I said earlier. For me, it's not, showing the art and it's cool and everything. But for me personally, that's not my favorite part of these shows.
Yeah.
I like talking to the guests and learning about them and what, their thought process behind how they collect, what they collect. So that's what I get out of it. And as you saw, Larry, a lot of people commenting about how they and unexpected the art that we showed tonight. It's not what they were expecting and what they're familiar with, but they still really enjoyed it. So there you go. You know what I mean? You keep your mind open and it opens possibilities. That's just
well said. Yeah, well said.
A good friend, Carl, and regular viewer these days. This was a fun show. Missed some of the middle there. No worries, but I'll definitely check it out. Appreciate it, Carl.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. So that's it, everyone. Thank you again, as always. I really appreciate all of you. Any minute you can give me, whether it's live or on rewind. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's always so appreciated. I would not do this without you guys, especially those of you who are here live all the time, who take the time to come in live, who can do that. I can't say more than what I always say. Thank you. I can't do anything more than that. But it means a lot to me. Without you guys, who I can sort of chat with and make the channel what it is, which is a hangout. We can all have a good time and chat together and have some laughs. I wouldn't do it. I'm not a guy who is only going to do pre-recorded content because I want to talk to people. That's why, so.
Yeah, that's cool. It's fun, man.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. Hey, Carl agrees. Carl says, best part is hearing the stories and meeting new collectors.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go. And Hart says, I appreciate Danny coming on board.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thanks. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, Danny's real cool. So again, thank you, Danny. Really appreciate you guys and gals in the chat. Always appreciate you too. I'm gonna close it all out with as always with the thumbnail for next week. So check this out. Please come back next week to see Show and Tell number 42 with Alberto Gonzalez. And he hates taking pictures, but I have to say he came through for me this time.
Nice.
I had a good time with that. So
next week. Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. And oh my gosh, you're still here. You're still here, Mark. Thanks, Danny and Ruben. You're very welcome, Mark. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And yes, have a great week, everybody. No limitations. Yes, that's right. No limitations. Thanks to all of you who were new tonight, who dropped by, and especially finding me on searching, just by searching. That was very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Appreciate that. Bye, Larry. And yes, a Perez shirt, apparently. That's one he won from Nikki B, I believe, right? Yeah, I think so. Mickey, my friend, good night to you. Great show. Oh, thank you. That's
nice, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Mickey. So thank you, everyone. And yeah, please don't forget to tune into Nick's show this Friday. And then come back and check us out here again on Sunday at the usual time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Have a good one. Later, Hart. Good to see you again. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. And that's it, everybody. Peace and go blue.
All right. Good night.